is brought to you by the League of Word Balloon Listeners. Hello,
Hey.
welcome.
Hey.
Episode
Hey.
2484.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think.
Hello.
Sure.
We're going to have to get a real number one of these days.
I'll do a head count, but you know.
There's 1, 2, 3, 4 heads right here.
Mm-hmm. Minus Skokie Spidey.
Yeah,
That's
where is
I
he?
miss him. Where is he, man? I miss him.
Where's Mighty Mike?
Yeah.
He's busy
Mighty Mike.
doing acting stuff.
To get
Oh, I
ready
thought
for
you were going to
Halloween.
say busy doing Spidey stuff.
He's wall crawling right now.
Yeah,
To get ready for Halloween.
I got his web
Yeah.
shooters.
He's
Halloween.
whipping around, huh? Yeah, he's
Because it is
whipping
now
around the city.
middle of July is when you shift everything over to Halloween, I believe.
Have these Spirit Halloween stores popped up yet?
Oh,
They
yeah.
should.
Mm.
Yep.
Really?
Yeah.
I haven't been
I-
out.
They put
Yeah, neither have I
candy-
already. Yeah, exactly.
Candy out,
Yeah.
They put candy out in the stores in the middle of July.
Yeah, they did.
Halloween.
Is they really?
Didn't you send me a picture, Scoot? Like,
Yeah.
where you were in the supermarket, you sent me a picture.
Yeah, it was
Middle of
July.
Yeah.
They had Halloween costumes,
Candy.
candy.
Yeah.
Now's the time to get it. It's early still.
Yeah, it won't be stale.
Which candy is worse, candy corn or circus peanuts?
Circus
Oh, the
peanut.
Circus peanuts.
That is the correct
Yeah.
answer.
Circus
Circus
penis.
penis.
Peanuts.
They're only good fresh once. You got to open them. You got to eat the whole bag.
Even when they're fresh, they suck.
Yeah,
they
they're
don't.
not good.
They're orange banana, but they're orange. They look like peanuts, but they taste like bananas, like banana flavored marshmallow. It's a very
Is it,
confusing.
is it bad that both of those candies look like Trump? Is it bad?
Did they look like him? Yeah, because he's like he's triangle shaped, right?
One's got an
John-
orange penis, and the other one's got, like, if you draw on it, he's got the yellow hair and the orange.
It's bumpy.
face.
Yeah.
John
Lumpy.
Oliver referred to him once as an inverted piece of candy corn because the oranges aren't the Trump.
I like them both actually. I like candy corns too. I'll eat them.
I don't mind candy corn, but I have to admit I liked it better when I was a kid.
My
You gotta
grandma's
get the
favorite.
right one.
favorite-
Some are waxy. Yuck.
Yeah, my
Yeah,
grandma loved the circus peanuts and those mustard looking ones. What are those things? They're brownish yellow.
The
Oh,
mustard
Mary
one.
Jane's,
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
the
like
peanut butter
butterscotch.
flavored candy.
Yeah, she used to.
That was my
dig
dad's
through a
favorite
bag.
candy too.
Like,
Yeah,
I don't
butterscotch is
understand.
good.
She used to dig
Butterscotch
through
is
her
fine.
candy and grab all those.
Butterscotch is a pretty good candy.
Hmm.
You
I-
ever, you ever have
probably-
old people in your life that had candy and like butterscotch or something like that, but then they pull it out of their pocket, but it didn't have a wrapper on it?
Oh yeah.
And
It's got a little
they,
lint.
and they give it to you, and you're like, oh.
You're not supposed to talk to those people,
Thanks.
Franco.
It's got one hair on
Well,
it.
how else am I
Yeah.
supposed to get my candy?
My aunt in church would always have what was it, Reds, the cherry like Lifesavers, but it was solid.
Yeah.
I forget what the brand was, but like to like keep me calm and stuff. She'd give me like a sour cherry
To
like
keep
thing.
you calm.
You're a church going man of faith, Franco or Johnny.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You know what's crazy? I was watching the History Channel on Sunday night, and they had the food that built America and everything, and they were doing a candy episode, and it was the history of like Tootsie Rolls and everything else. And before Lifesavers, there was another fruit flavored candy drop company, and I totally forgot about it until they talked about it, and it was called Charms, and it had like a
I remember
rainbow.
those. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was like, oh my God. I go, yeah. I'm like, Jesus, I haven't seen Charms in like 40 years or
They
whatever.
used to make gummies, right? Or those were Chuckles?
Chuckles were the gum, like kind of the jelly candies. Yeah.
Charms was that
Chuckles.
square candy that kind of looked like Halls.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but they came. I remember they came in a square box. Like you would unwrap it like a thing of gum or something like.
The
Hubba
creator
Bubbas.
of the Charms Blow Pop.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
That's-
Blow pops are
They
charms.
evolved into the blow pops. You're exactly right. That's
I
right.
used to date a
Can't
girl
call them
named-
that no more.
No, I
Yeah.
used to date a girl
Yeah,
named
blow
Blow
pop,
Pop.
sure you can.
Or something.
They
That's a
evolved
different
into
I-
blow pop.
After hours, a blow pop could be a very different pricing proposition.
Yeah, that's why Dad's
Want a
always
blow
smiling.
pop?
Mm.
I
There's
think I
also
do.
You remember that zebra striped gum or whatever?
Yipe stripe.
that had-
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, fruit stripe. Fruit stripe.
Yipe stripe, fruit
Yeah, but it
stripe.
was a
No?
zebra. It had no flavor
Yeah.
after like 10 seconds. You put it in your mouth, turns to dust.
Yep.
Basically.
That's why the pack was like real thick, 16 sticks, whatever.
Yeah,
How come,
You could go through
how
them
come
all
they
at
don't
one
sell
time.
Pop Rocks no more?
because they keep killing guys with it. They keep
Was it?
drinking-
It wasn't really. That was a
they
wives.
drink-
That was an
they
old
drink
wives.
so-
tale.
No, they drink Coca-Cola with it and it kills them.
Yeah, sure it does.
Friend of a friend of a cousin of my friend. It happened.
You give them to seagulls and they explode.
Yeah, what if you threw Pop Rocks instead of rice at weddings? That'd be cool.
I was yelled at for my uncle was getting married and not me. I got into a fight with the maid of honor
Yeah.
because she at my uncle's wedding she wanted to throw rice and the priest said you're not allowed to throw rice at my church. Mainly because it's a pagan ritual, but also
Yeah, you
because
keep hitting the windows.
you throw rice
Oh,
and
birds.
it kills the birds because
Yeah,
it expands. And
Right.
this woman was so adamant that it had to happen, and I just finally couldn't take enough, and I did it, Johnny, and I blew up at her, and I'm like, just stop talking about the effing rice.
Mhm.
And then afterwards, I got so angry that we had to go to the rehearsal dinner, and I had to go I was gonna have to be with this woman for hours on end. Later. So like driving to the rehearsal dinner, I got pulled over by a policeman. And as he walked up to the car, I just stuck my hand out the window and I'm like, give me the ticket. And he's like, whoa, slow down, son. I'm like, I don't have time to slow down. Give me the ticket. I was just so angry.
Yeah.
And he goes, all right, you want to take it that badly? I'm going to have to hear the story. I'm like, you want to hear the story? This is the story. And I went through the whole rehearsal dinner. And he goes, all right, this is what's going to happen. I'm not going to give you a ticket, but you're going to sit here for 10 minutes before you can go to the rehearsal dinner because I don't want to get a call and have to show up at the rehearsal dinner later. So I'm like, fine. And he sat there in his car. I sat in my car for 10 minutes, and then I put my hand down. I'm like, can I go? And he goes, yeah, go ahead. So then I went.
Hilarious. You gotta respect cops like that. That really are like, all right, this guy's obviously having a bad night. I'm not going to be a jerk and just give him a ticket. It's like, okay, let me help you out here.
Yeah, he could have really kind of railed me.
Sure.
Pretty bad.
Hilarious.
Or derailed you.
Yeah.
I don't remember the stickers that were whistles as Matt Rogers is talking about.
Oh, what were those candies?
Oh, yeah.
That came like they came on a CVS receipt, and they were all different colors.
They look like
little dots.
LSD.
Yeah, you remember?
I
those?
remember the little dot candy and stuff
Yeah.
on
Yeah, they were
like
dots.
CVS receipts.
Yeah, they were like on a CVS receipt. They were like different colored dots on it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was
I
like
think
hardcore drugs when you were a kid.
I think those were called whistle pops. The reference. It's true.
I
The
don't
thing that
I don't
our
know.
fan said. I don't
Fun
know what
dip
he
was
said.
always good too.
Fun dip.
Fun dip was crazy because you couldn't control the amount that you put in your face.
Yeah, just pure
Like-
sugar.
It was yeah.
Andrew wants to know if we're excited for Beetlejuice 2.
Yeah.
Nah.
Are you? Yeah, I'm with Artie on this one. It's like,
I
all
don't
right,
care.
we'll see.
It's
I'm
already-
in no rush to see it.
If it comes
Yeah.
on the TV while I'm looking for something to
Yeah.
watch, but I'm
I'm
not
gonna go see it in the
against it.
theater. Let's go. Let's go on Friday. Me and you. We'll go
Good
to the
Halloween
movie.
movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll go. If I'm in New York, I'll be in New York soon.
Yeah.
I
I'll be
just
in
heard
Cincinnati.
Michael Keaton was on Smartless, the Smartless podcast, talking about the new movie.
Oh, yeah.
And, whatever. I mean, I hope it's funny.
Yeah, it's another one.
What's with those what's with those themed popcorn buckets that they're making for all these movies now? Because I saw the one for Beetlejuice and it's a sandworm, and it just looks like a giant sex toy.
Those would be good for dioramas for Star Wars figures, like that one.
That's true.
That Dune one would look like an orifice for the Sarlacc
Yes, it
pit.
did.
Yeah.
Stick your Boba Fett in there.
Yeah.
Don't send pictures of that to Johnny.
Then pull him out
He likes
20 years later.
Yeah, that'd be good.
And he's
yeah,
fat.
yeah, he gained weight in there.
I just look forward to the future civilizations that dig up the landfills with all of the unsold popcorn containers of these ridiculous things.
You don't think they're going to find those ET video games first?
Yeah.
How are we going to find those?
Yes. That's a great documentary about those on Netflix.
I saw that, yeah.
That's very funny. Pete Beiser says he's tired of sequels and reboots and remakes and reimaginings. Well, strap in, Pete, because we're not done. I'm sure there's a lot more in the works.
Yeah,
we have franchises to get through.
Yeah.
That's right.
We're going to make a sequel to this podcast soon.
Well, also, like, really, the way streaming television has changed the nature of going to the movies and stuff. Like, the only things that sell are either horror movies or franchise movies.
Yeah, right.
And everything else, every other movie, it's like there's a new Ronald Reagan biopic that Dennis Quaid made.
I heard it bombed like big time.
Well, yeah, it came in third, and it like had $10 million for the weekend. And it's like, hey, look, welcome back to 1984.
Is Dennis Quaid playing Ronald Reagan?
Yeah,
he is.
Wow, that's a compliment. I would have got the guy from Superman too. You know that one.
Terrence
guy.
Stamp, who? Oh, E.G. Marshall.
Yeah, the guy.
E.G. Marshall. Yeah, he's dead.
I would have gotten Josh
Is he
Brolin.
dead? They could digitally put his face on a guy or something. They could do that with Ronald Reagan. He was an actor anyway. You know,
get his likeness. He should have played himself in the movie.
You could get that deep fake guy to make a Ronald Reagan movie.
Well,
I forget.
have that much hair dye.
I don't know. I want to find out who's in the cast for Reagan.
I know.
Playing Nancy. Oh, I know who's playing Nancy. Believe it or not, Penelope Ann Miller is Nancy. Hello, Nancy.
She hasn't appeared for a while. That lady.
Hello, Penelope
Ann
Miller. Yeah. I know that Star Wars hired a deep fake guy to make their guys.
Oh yeah, Haas.
Did you know that?
Wait, which one? Say it again.
Star Wars hired the deep fake guy to make their deep fakes. He worked on Luke Skywalker in the Book of Boba Fett. That was a new deep fake. And same with Indiana Jones movie. He put him in there too.
Don't they have the rights to James Earl Jones's voice forever? I think they
they did. It's digital. In Obi-Wan, it was all digital. It was digital. It was an AI voice of Darth Vader.
Did you hear this rumor about?
They got the rights to James Earl Jones like phonetic pronunciations.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Yeah, and it's all like they can make him say anything now. Because it's
now we will do the consonants for you.
Yeah. Remember when he was on David Letterman? He would just read a word a day, and he would come in. Now, a word of the day from James Earl Jones. He would come out and say, mellifluous. And then he walk away. Ostentatious.
When he was on Big Bang Theory, and he does that turn because you think he's going to jump on Sheldon about being a Star Wars fan. He's like, "You like Star Wars? So do I."
Yeah, sit
and
down.
And then they like hang out for the whole night.
Yeah, he liked it. Yeah, I think that's what a lot of these stars probably like. They like that super fan, even though if they complain, I think they like it.
Yeah,
sure.
Did you hear this rumor about Hal Jordan and Josh Brolin for the Lanterns HBO show?
Yeah,
really?
he should have been. He should have been Ronald Reagan in the movie. I'm telling you.
Oh, he would have been.
He would make a great Reagan, Josh Brolin. Yes.
So he's going to be Hal Jordan. Like what?
Well, they offered him the role. We haven't heard if he accepted or not, but it's
for a TV show.
Yeah.
For the HBO.
They're making a Green Lantern. They're making a Green Lantern a Green Lantern Corps TV show. Tom King's writing it.
Oh, cool! I didn't know about this.
Yep.
They're gonna make a streaming show, not a movie.
Yes. Yes.
Wow.
No, a streaming show.
It's going to
start. It's going to be on. It's going to be on HBO cable, but it's also going to be on the Max channel.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yep.
It'll be like The Boys, like only
Kilowog.
10 episodes or something like that.
You know, those were the best parts of the movie was when he was in space. You know, everything else.
Yeah, but I think it's going to be Earthbound. We'll see how much space is in it, but it sounded like that they're like undercover on Earth.
Regular clothes. No costumes.
Probably.
Well,
Probably.
I'm not going to watch that.
Yeah, why are they going to do
Now you're
that?
not going to watch it at all. Good idea, Artie.
Yeah,
Attaboy.
who cares?
I
I'm gonna
already
wait
saw
for-
that. It's called
Yeah.
Heroes.
I did that with
Yeah.
Smallville. I watched the first
Nice.
episode, and then I read an interview with the producers that said,
Yeah.
our Clark Kent is never going to put the suit on. I'm like, well, I'm never going to watch this.
I love
And
Smallville.
I didn't
watched
until
all
the
of it.
last episode.
I liked all of it. Yeah. I
No,
liked
I'm
all
going
of
to stick
Smallville.
to my principles. I'm never going to watch
First season and last season are the best ones, I think.
it. He
My
was
the
friend
General
from high
Dodge
school
season.
is a villain
Tom-
in one of the episodes.
Tom
Who
Welling.
is?
My friend from high school, I graduated with, Jonathan Bennett.
Really?
He's one of the villains in Smallville for one of the episodes.
Look.
He
Tom
can like
Welling
touch
is a
people and read their
super
minds,
buff.
I think.
He's
Where
like
does he
super
touch him?
buff. I saw him at Terrific.
Touch him
Con. He's like
anywhere?
all big.
Yeah, he's a big dude. He's a real big
Uncle.
dude.
Tom
Who's that?
Welling?
Kind of well
Yeah.
cast. Tom Welling, yeah.
You should just make him Superman again. Just put him back in.
Oh my
somehow.
God, he's a fantastic Superman. Even when he was in the Crisis TV crossover,
Yeah.
it's like he's great. He's still Superman. Good for
And he
him.
doesn't.
He's gone
Superman-
grayish, so he
Yeah.
could be the Alex Ross Superman.
Yeah, because Superman
Yeah,
doesn't
Kingdom
have
Come
to be
Superman.
young.
Yeah, yeah.
Be any age, right? Just put him in it. Throw him in the
Here,
movie. Throw him
Pete
in there.
Pizes says James Brolin, Dennis's dad, played Reagan a few years ago in TV miniseries. Yeah, with Cynthia Nixon as Nancy. Hello, Nancy.
Hello, Nancy. Did they make him go, well? Did he do like
Yeah, I'm
that?
sure they
Is
do.
it an impersonation?
Phil Hartman did a good Reagan on SNL.
Yes, he did. I love that
Yeah,
mastermind sketch where
Yeah.
he pretends to be really stupid in public, and then as soon as everybody's out of the room, all right, back
Yeah.
in here. This is what we're gonna do.
Speaking
Right.
of Ronald Reagan,
You
you
are
guys remember?
correct.
You remember Connie Selica? You remember?
Yeah.
her?
Sure,
Yeah.
They should put
From
her in
the,
a Green Lantern movie.
from The Greatest American Hero,
Yeah.
She was the
and
girlfriend.
Hotel with
Hotel with Rod
Josh-
Taylor,
with
Wasn't she in
and
Hill Street Blues
No.
with that other
Yeah.
guy?
with
That
James
was
Brolin.
Farina?
James Brolin? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. No, that was oh, what's her
Other
name?
one. She was a lawyer, and that other guy was a doctor.
Veronica. Was it Veronica?
I don't know.
Walters.
Barbara.
Barbara.
I forget her name.
Barbara.
Oh, it's gonna drive me nuts. Now I
Walters.
gotta look it up.
Barbara.
it. She was a looker. That one. Yes. My
She had
goodness.
two
I'm a
eyes
big
to
Connie
look with.
Selick.
Connie
That was a good show.
Selick. Connie.
I remember the theme song to that too. Hill Street.
Joey,
Blues,
yeah,
Hill
Joey
Street,
Scarborough.
Hill Street. Hill Street. Hill Street.
Like the
Blues.
guy with
Oh,
Bark.
that song.
No, those.
Oh,
were
you're
the,
thinking
the
of
lyrics.
Veronica. Yeah, Veronica Hamill.
Veronica.
Hamill. That's what it was.
Veronica. Related
I,
to Luke at all?
I met Daniel J. Travanti, the Captain Farillo from Hill Street Blues. Very nice guy.
Oh, is that how you say it? I always would say Daniel Travanti. I didn't know.
No, you're
You
off
left
the
the J out.
Daniel Travanti.
Was it
No,
the woman
Daniel
that
J.
played
Travanti.
his wife that, like, he was the captain in the show and he divorced the woman and started dating Veronica Hamill, as anyone would, I guess. But wasn't the woman the wife of the creator of the show?
The one with the mane. There was a woman
Yes,
with mane on there. She
Yeah.
looked like the sister from the Beauty and the Beast show. She could have
Yeah.
been related to the Beast.
The guy who
I just
created that, he also created Cop Rock. You remember Cop Rock? What's his name? Stephen
Yes.
Bochco. Yeah, wasn't
Yeah.
she married to Stephen Bochco?
Could be. Could be. I don't know.
Why do I remember
Um,
silly stuff?
We need Wayne, the ombudsman, to tell us or
Waggles.
not.
Wayne, where are you? I know you're watching.
Wayne's
Is he an
watching.
ombudsman?
Well, I always call him that for when we have a question when we're doing the sci-fi TV rewatch review show.
Shouldn't he go to
Like
the
when someone
doctor?
has a
and get that
question, I'm like,
cleared
Wayne, you're the ombudsman. Look it up, and he does.
Nice. Because
Yeah.
when I was in college, I worked at a hardware store, but I did all the other stuff that wasn't hardware store like. And when I filled out my application or my what do you call it, resume for college, I told my boss what I did, and he told me I was an ombudsman for that store. Because he goes, well, what do you do? I said, I build shelves, I mop floors, I clean toilets, I shovel snow. And I said, that's janitor. He goes, well, do you stock shelves? I go, yeah. He goes, you're an ombudsman. So
Did you go to
That's
the
what he
doctor
said.
and get a pill to
Not
get
even
cleared
close to the definition, but it's a guy in hardware, so I'm not going to argue with him.
yeah, that's what he told. No, that was my teacher told me that at college.
Even better.
Well, he was
On
wrong,
my
too.
resume.
Ombudsmen they're fact checkers.
Oh,
Like newspapers have ombudsmen, and also remember the old Tribune columnist Bernie Lincecum, the sports writer.
I'm gonna go with yes.
Attaboy. He after he retired from doing his daily columns at the Tribune, he became the baseball ombudsman for Major League Baseball.
So
They would fix Hack Wilson actually had 2 more runs batted in than we realized, so we adjusted that record-breaking season, things like that.
So all this time I thought I was an ombudsman in the early 90s.
Or Jerome Holtzman. If I said Bernie Lincecum, I meant Jerome Holtzman.
We know what you meant.
Yeah, I knew. I didn't.
I think there's a different term for it, like jack of all trades or something like that, where you could do a whole bunch of different things and you're
Let's look it up.
or something like that. But does anyone else think that ombudsman is a funny word, like yams? It's a funny word.
I used to call that footrest the ombudsman, and then I was told no, that's an ottoman. You know?
Yeah.
And I used to think I was an ottoman.
Those guys used to have their own empire.
Yeah, because I thought I was an
Is
ottoman
that
for a long time.
the fast road in like Germany? Is that what it's called?
That's the Autobahn.
Oh, same thing.
You know, doing this show for as many episodes as we have, I'm starting to think we're all idiots. So I'm thinking.
I had a joke lined up 3 times already, but 4 times now. And I'm not going to say what the joke.
According to Webster's, the ombudsman is appointed by a government or other organization to investigate complaints against the people in authority. This position is designed to give those with less power, the little people, a voice in the operation of a large corporation. Well, again, I know from a newspaper standpoint, it is to correct any disputes about facts, or whether it's in an article or a column or whatever editorial. But what do I know?
I like that.
Maybe
Don Lenza says Bernie Lincecum was a dick. No, he wasn't. And Holtzman was a genius. Well, he wasn't. I mean, Bernie had what they called scorched earth columns, where it was his job to kind of insult and jab at people. Terry Boers had a column like that too, and that was the job. It was like to be like a sports writer Rickles, essentially. And Jay Mariotti was that kind of writer as well.
What happened to Jay?
He kind of, really personal things, I think, got in the way of his career. I'll leave it at that. I was not a fan of Jay's. I think Jay was not a nice guy.
No, he might have been
on Around the Horn.
Maybe you could adjust that. They could adjust that comment. But Jay was a Richard.
Ken Doug says the Navy has ombudsman.
Do they? Maybe that's where I was supposed to be.
What do they do?
I don't know.
They budsmen, ombuds.
Navy wise,
I don't know.
Maybe an ombudsman is someone who has a joke lined up 4 times and doesn't get to tell it.
Yeah, doesn't get to say it and just threw it away. It's gone. I got another joke. No, I don't.
Uh-oh.
But I watched this show. I've been watching How to Murder Your Wife shows on Netflix. They're really good and they're really informative. And but I've been watching and it's weird. Like I find myself pausing it when my wife comes in a room. Oh, hi, honey. But we watched this show, one of the shows. But they had somebody burglarize a house next door, and it's the first time I've ever heard them saying the burglar burglared the house. I never knew burglared was a word. It's
it's a verb.
Yeah. It's like always burglarize, but they said he burgled. No, he burgled. That's what they called
burgled.
it.
Yeah,
they burgled. I'm like, I never knew that was a word. I want to use that as much as I can now.
You're only allowed to use that when you rip off a house, when you steal things from a house, or when you go to a fast food place. I believe.
McDonald's. Yeah,
steal hamburgers.
Hamburglar. Burgle.
The Navy ombudsman he acts as the liaison between the command leadership and naval families. They keep a list of resources and support organizations for Navy families. They provide information about emergencies and crises, represent the command at local ombudsman assembly meetings, share official Department of the Navy and command information, information about command climate issues, and information about local community opportunities. So there you go.
Johnny, now I know why you're so smart, because you look up everything. Like I always like the word liaison too, because it sounds like a rash, but it's an actual helpful person. Because I had a liaison once, well, a few times, because they tell you like when you fly to these shows, and your liaison will be over here, and I'm like, what the heck is a liaison? Like I'm not sure. Is that
I apply cream to the liaisons on my body, and
or it seems like it would be like a nicely pressed shirt. Here's your liaison shirt. Just wear this. Like, thank you.
I like the fact that Johnny looks them all up, but we don't. We're just like,
Yeah, I
come
know.
across the word. I don't need to know it.
The weird thing is, I know what all these words mean.
I know. Does it bother anybody else that there's an ombudsman assembly meeting in the Navy? That they have a bunch of these guys that meet? Because you glossed
Can
over that fact.
Ombudsman can have a liaison to help them burglar.
What are they burglaring?
Well, the past tense will be burglar. They burgled.
What are they
I
burglaring?
burgled.
Man,
Not burglarize. Burgle. I like that.
burglaring.
Can you burglar the ombudsman?
What are we drinking tonight, Artie?
It's diet soda here. It's like this. Looks like this. Inside.
There you go.
But it's got ice in there.
That's
Yeah.
the way it looks.
There you go.
Yeah, it's got a. I'm on the late afternoon. Wake up at 2:00 in the morning or 2:00 in the afternoon shift.
Nice.
Working on a lot of things. Hey, do you guys know
Yes.
I'm going? I got nominated for a SIPA award for
cool.
yachts.
Yeah. Congratulations, man.
Isn't that
Yeah, that's
cool?
awesome.
So I'm flying out to Denver pretty soon. I'm doing a lot of flying. I'm going like 4 places this month and next month, and
Wow.
This year was the year I was gonna say I'm only going to C2E2 in San Diego and New York. Now I'm going to Virginia. We're gonna do a haunted house show in Virginia. I'm going to Colorado to see if I win. But the cool thing about the award, it's a literary book award, so it's not just for comics, it's all the categories. So there's like a fishing book category, cookbooks, science books, all these books, and mine is for juvenile fiction for middle grade, and there's 3 nominees, and they said they give awards for finishing first, second, and third. So I'm gonna get one. So I don't know.
Nice.
If I go there and come back with a bronze, I'd be happy. So that's what made me think like I'm gonna go, because either way, something's gonna happen. So
That's cool.
yeah, that'll be fun, man. And it's for Yogs, the book, my Crybaby adventures I did in the '90s, and if someone told me hey man, you're writing an award-winning story right now, I wouldn't have believed them. I still don't believe them, but it's gonna be cool. Yeah.
You might have to go back and reread that story again.
Yeah, it's like, are you sure this is any good? So it'll be fun, man. I'm excited.
Nice, man. Congrats, brother.
Yeah, that's
thanks,
cool.
bro.
Yeah,
Thanks.
really. Good luck.
Yes, we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Sure.
Yeah.
Nice.
So
Like it.
I need a haircut and all that stuff, and maybe a new coat. I don't know.
I got a wedding Saturday.
Are you getting
Oh.
married?
Congrats, Johnny.
Congrats, Johnny.
Yes, I am getting married. Yes, indeed.
Oh,
Finally
good.
taking the
Wow.
plunge. Nice. Nice.
Mom.
Mom, why'd you say mom? I don't know.
Now my friend's daughter's getting married.
Oh, nice.
Oh.
So I'm going. It's at Illinois State. So
Oh, you're
That'll
going
be
down
nice.
to Champaign? Is that where it is?
no, that's U of I, but you're close enough.
Okay, I don't know these
Illinois
things,
State
man.
is normal in Bloomington.
That's what I meant to say. See,
That's
I
all
have
right.
an ombudsman's would have known the
I was
facts.
gonna say, Johnny could be the ombudsman of the wedding. He can
Yeah.
carry the ring. Like, isn't
Yeah.
that what they're called?
Mm-hmm. You could
Billboard?
you could
The
call
ring bearer?
Gordy and hang out. He's doing he does parties now with his buddies, with the Junta crew. They host parties and he plays his music. The guy's
Nice.
freestyle rap
Yeah.
over stuff. I could tell my Uncle YOKO Chips is coming by.
James Bunt says Patrick the Wolf Boy was a gateway to get my niece into comics.
Oh yeah, James
Oh,
Bunt.
cool.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. That's
I
real
wanna
cool.
I wanna sing real bad to James Bunt. You're beautiful, but that's not
Yeah.
the real. That's not the
It's
James
Blunt with an L.
That's
Blunt, sorry.
Gallant. James Gallant. James for Junt.
James is for John.
James Verjunt. Yeah. We got to bring back the Verjunt. I miss
Yeah,
it.
what happened to that?
Hey, mine's disappearing. Shut up. I've
Really?
I've
You
lost
got
like,
You got
yeah, I
another
lost like
Verjunt?
35 pounds, man. I mean,
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
still
dude.
fat. Don't get me wrong. As I tell everyone, it's like, wow, that's great. I'm like, it's a deck chair off the Titanic. It's nice,
Oh,
but at the end of the day, the ship is still sinking. So it's all right.
Johnny's
hole in the
losing
boat.
weight. He's going to a wedding. Like,
wow.
wow, things
I
are
was,
turning around.
Johnny.
I'm at 39 pounds. I went from 315. I'm at 286. But again, I'm 286. That's
Hey.
big.
But
That's big.
That's something.
Baby steps
Yeah.
says, what about
That's
Bob would say?
Well, I told Franco at Terrificon my khakis when I wear them with the belt. I don't have the barcode anymore on my belt.
Really?
Yeah.
more tape.
I didn't
No
want
more
to see it.
bungee cord.
Well, I never had tape, but it doesn't. It
What kind of tape are you using?
How
Duct
about
tape? What's
How about a
happening over there?
bungee cord? You need
yeah,
a bungee
duct
cord.
tape exactly.
I remember.
Ow.
I use a bungee cord now and then. When because I don't know, good or bad.
On your waist?
Yeah, because I had to drill holes in my belt for a little bit, but I could just go buy a new belt. But now my belt
Sure.
it goes around me 1.5 times. So when I couldn't drill holes, I would put a bungee cord in the loops around just to make the pants tight. Just get a short bungee cord, tighten up the pants.
Just use a zip tie. Those are better.
Yeah, but then you can't get that out right away. You need scissors. See, you need a tool pouch if you have a zip ties because you need tools to get out of your clothes.
Yeah, because if you're ever like driving on the highway and you got to do a rest stop because it's an emergency,
Yeah.
you got to get in there and you got to get things off real quick.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
You do. You need an
if you
extra
do a zip
glove.
tie, you'd be sitting there like struggling.
That's how a lot of people lose gloves on the highway. I see them all the time.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Johnny
Just that one
mostly.
glove.
Yeah.
You think when a rubber glove hits, it goes whoosh when it lands? Does it have to be wet to do that?
If it comes off forcefully, I think.
Whoosh. Mhm.
Mm-hmm. That's
Yeah.
true.
I like it. I like it. I like
At
it.
the end of that night, there'll be a one glove on the dance floor after Johnny leaves.
That's cool.
It's my calling card.
I heard your guys. I watch your Trek talks. They're really funny, even though I don't watch the shows, but I feel like I know enough about the shows just hearing you guys. But it was cool to hear about the Terrificon stuff with Keanu Reeves and
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
that. Yeah, it was cool. And
And
I
the
know
powdered
you're out
donut
there.
the potted
Yeah.
donut that was like a crime scene on
The
my
guy-
shirt.
Because I heard the story that you guys told on the air, and then I heard the individual stories that Franco told me off the air. So it's really cool to compare who is actually telling the truth. I don't know, and
I'm
but
gonna
I
go
like,
with me.
yeah,
Yeah, I was blind with rage
Yeah.
at that point, which
you
is
seeing
nothing
red?
new, as you know. So
you got to get some optic red goggles, Johnny. Like so people can't see your eyes. The Sith Lord eyes. Mm-mm, 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 mm-mm. But I'm happy that next year Terrificon's earlier, so I think I might go. I think I might go. Yep, that's what I said. So hopefully everyone's schedules. I won't be driving early to colleges. Gordy will be done though.
well,
Oh.
if you end up going,
Yeah.
I would like to propose a Migo panel,
Oh, we could do
and that
that.
you bring some of your custom Migos.
Oh, that would be fun.
Because I've told Mitch in the past I want him to get what's the name of the Migo founder, Artie?
Marty Abrams.
Yes,
Yeah.
Mitch knows him, and I'm like, invite Marty Abrams and have him and Mitch and Artie do a Migo panel.
Yeah, because I know they're in New York or New Jersey or somewhere over there, and so it
Yeah.
won't be a bad. It won't be a far drive, and I know they just want everything to be free. So that's what'll get those guys out there. It's got to be free. Yeah, but that'll be fun. I did a Migo panel last time I was there with another guy. I always forget his name.
Matt
Was it the guy from
Yeah,
Kevin
Matt.
Smith's podcast? Not
No.
Ming Chen, the other
No,
guy.
I was on with him too one time, and the stretchy Hulk guy.
Yeah.
We were on something. Yeah.
He oiled him up.
Yeah, I took his shirt off for him and stuff. No, it was. I said, so here's the part that needs to be articulated. Let me see. Here's the ab crunch. No, we didn't do that. But that was fun. Yeah.
Pete enjoyed Terrificon. Couldn't have been an easier setup with the total and the restaurants. He had a tough time driving home Sunday though because Connecticut flooded. Did you have trouble,
Really?
Franco, getting back?
No, I luckily avoided. I think by the time we packed up and left, we avoided a lot of that stuff. But I heard that, a
Yeah.
lot of different places kind of got flooded
flooded
out.
out, yeah.
And
Wow.
then
Yeah, it was pretty
traffic was kind of like horrendous, but just
Was
because
it
of
torrential?
torrential downpours, yeah.
Yep.
So it's a little dicey, a little hairy there.
Ew.
Sure.
And that's the other thing. We usually stay later for dinner because usually we do dinner with Johnny. But
Yeah.
The lines for the restaurant were all ridiculous because there was a concert that was happening that night too. So
Brusa?
that
Bruce
kind of like
Springsteen?
It wasn't a Bruce. No.
no.
Then I know he's in the news lately. I keep hearing Mitch kept saying something about Brusa.
Well, I think he was going to see him again, and I don't know if it was at Mohegan Sun or whatever, but yeah, I did hear
No,
that
it's
he
in
was going.
Baltimore because we were going to go see him
There
last
you
year at Baltimore, and
Sure.
it was the same night of the convention, but then he canceled because he was sicky. Yeah,
Bummer.
true story.
I'm turning Artie's microphone off as he goes to
Yeah.
attend to whatever.
So it wasn't a Brusa, basically.
Man, I'm always bummed when I'm in the elevator at Mohegan Sun for Terrificon because you see all the bands. No, the bands and the comedians that are coming up. Jon Stewart was coming up, and Tom Jones.
And they're all in the elevator with you?
Yes. No, the ads for their appearances at Mohegan Sun.
Oh, that's right. I got you.
Break it down. There you go.
I don't know. You got to explain these things to me.
Yeah, obviously. All right, I'll use flashcards next time.
I don't know if you're having like some sort of episode in the elevator. I don't know what's happening.
I have episodes all the time. As you know, you saw me have an episode during Keanu Reeves signing.
Yeah. I want to hear about that.
Which version do you want to hear? Johnny's version?
Go, Francis. You tell it better.
So I get in.
Well,
in the panel.
I'll start, and then when I enter the room that Franco's in, I'll let Franco take over. Because Chucky and I are walking towards the convention. It's hours before the convention starts. I see Mitch in the hallway, and he goes, "Hey, Franco's in that room. Keanu Reeves is doing his signing there." Okay, fine. And we knew about Keanu Reeves doing a private signing for all the VIP ticket holders, which was very cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
So I approach the door, and there's a woman that is security at the door, and she goes, "Oh, staff only." So Chucky and I hold up our badges that say staff, and she goes, "No, you need a staff shirt as well." And I'm like, "Okay, look, we're staff. We don't have staff shirts. We're going in. I don't know what your problem is, but we're going in."
Johnny's like, "You want to see my barcode? I'll show you my barcode."
So there's another room before we get into the room where Franco is, and these two guys, who I later discovered were off-duty cops, and I maintained my cool, but they were stiff and like, "Hey, why are you hassling the lady? She's just doing her job." And I'm like, "I'm staff. He's staff. We just want to go in. We're going to say hi to a guy that we know is in the room." "Well, how are you staff? I don't know who you are. I've never seen you before. How are you staff?" And I'm like, "Well," and I was calm, but I was pissed. And I'm like, "Well, I helped Mitch arrange several of the guests. I arranged several of the panels with Mitch. I am moderating panels this weekend. And Mitch and I have an advertising agreement as well. I am staff. My name is John Suntress. You might want to remember that." Because at that point, I'm like, all right. Well, again, because I'm like, listen, I'm right with my representation.
Do you know who I am?
Yeah.
No, and I never do that. I'm not that kind of person. But if you're going to challenge me and I know I'm in the right, I'm going to defend myself.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
So at that point, I walk in the room. I am completely blind with rage. Take it away, Franco.
So getting into the room for me is another story. But I'm in the room and I'm at the end of the line. And Johnny comes in and he's holding a powdered donut. But he's holding it so his thumb is inside the powdered donut. You know, like it's a solid donut. But his thumb is inside. So like he made his own hole in the donut. Right?
He doesn't want to lose it.
Right. But then I look at his shirt and all the powder from the powdered donut is all over the front of his shirt. And I'm like, "Johnny, the powdered donut's all over your shirt." He goes, yeah, I got to go change my shirt. And he goes like this, and it just kind of
gets worse.
Yeah, smashed it all in there.
It smeared the powder. Yeah.
So setting up for the Keanu thing, they were very, very adamant with everybody. There is no cell phones in there because they don't want Keanu Reeves doesn't want any cell phones. It's his request. So all cell phones need to be put away. And they were pretty strict about it. If you took out your cell phone, they would warn you once, but then if you took it out again, they'd just throw you out. It was really very strict about that. So
that's like old school. That's like 2007.
Right. So, you know, the rules were laid out. You only get one thing signed. So I had a book, and Nick was with me, my son, and he had a book. And we had other books, but I'm like, okay, we'll only get the one signed. That's fine. So we go. Johnny comes up and he goes, I'm like, "Hey, Johnny, you here for the Keanu signing?" He goes, he told me this whole story and everything, you know. So we're going through, and he goes, I said, "You gonna get something signed or anything?" Thinking that he knew the rules. I don't know if anybody had told him or anything. And he goes, No, I'm just gonna get a selfie. And I'm like, Johnny, you can't get a selfie because there's no phones allowed. And he goes, what? He goes, yeah, you're not allowed to have a. Well, how are you supposed to take a picture? I'm like, you don't. You're just gonna get something signed. He goes, well, screw this. I'm not waiting for this.
Well, I didn't have anything.
Out.
Yeah, I didn't have anything to say.
So then later he sees a picture of me online, and he's like, I thought you said they weren't allowed to take pictures. I'm like, I didn't know they had someone up in the front taking pictures, and that you'd be able to download them later. I didn't know that. They didn't tell me that. So when you get up there, you get something signed, and they have you turn around and they take a picture for you. So that's the whole story.
No, as an addendum. So then I felt bad. The off-duty cops who told me I was mean to the security lady. I'm like, all right, let me apologize to the lady. So I go back out, and another staff guy is waiting to go in, and she's like, I'm sorry, staff only. And he's got his badge, and he goes, I am staff. And she goes, you need to wear a shirt. And I said in a very desperate voice, he's wearing a staff shirt. Because it was very obvious that he was wearing a staff shirt. And really, I'm just like, all right, I'm not going to apologize. This person does not know how to do her job. I'm leaving. So Chucky and I left.
Okay.
But really, it's like, truly, it's like, okay, can you get the dumbest person? And yes, I'm sorry. This is a very dumb person that doesn't. And again, I get it. It's big Keanu Reeves. It's A-list movie star time. I get all that. But again,
well,
I
was talking to Mitch about it, and he, because we went up the other day to the Norman Rockwell Museum. I'll tell you about that later.
Yeah, I saw the photos.
We were talking about that, and like when there's someone like Keanu that comes in, you have all of Keanu's people, you have all of the Mohegan Sun people, you have all of his people, and then there's extra security from another part of Mohegan. So like there's 4 different coordinate.
Yes.
It's kind of like when when Trump got shot and they were arguing about well, this person didn't pick up the radio and this person didn't know this one because you have all these different agencies. It's kind of like that, So
no coordination.
Yeah. When I went in there, because Mitch wanted a bunch of Berserker books, so we brought them up from the show. So I got him in there hours before the signing, and then I said, hey, I got the books. He goes, oh yeah. He goes, make sure you come back for the signing. So when the signing happens, I said, if you can make it happen, that's great. But, no biggie if you can. I understand you're being pulled in a million different directions. He goes, no. When the signing happens, just come right up to the front of the line with all my people and just come right in because they're going to do a signing before they let the public in. So I'm like, oh, cool. So right before the signing, I go up there and I go right up to the front of the door. And the security guard comes out of the door and looks at everybody else that has a staff shirt on. And looks at me and goes, you out. And I'm like, oh, I said, well, Mitch, he goes, I don't care. You out. I'm like, well, no, Mitch asked me, he goes, out right now. I'm like, okay, I'm not going to argue with anybody. I'm going to leave. So I'm standing outside and Sharon, which is Mitch's wife, comes by and goes, what are you doing here? I said, well, I was going to go in the signing, but I got thrown out. She goes, oh God. She goes inside and then she straightened it all out. She had somebody come in and get me. But yeah, it was very funny.
I like it. I got to hear the story again.
Yeah. Well, we're telling it for the purpose of the audience, and we knew you were away, so you didn't have to.
Oh, right.
Pete Beiser says, I heard some interesting stories from Ron Garney about the women who reached out to him to get to Keanu, worth asking him about. Okay.
I'm not gonna ask him about it. No.
All right.
So did you get Keanu on word balloon?
Can I put up a I don't care comment from the audience right now? Who would win, Catman versus Kevin Nash? I don't care.
Probably
Kevin Nash.
Kevin Nash, he's big.
Yeah, he's a big guy.
Big and
he
he's
would
sexy.
just put on Catman.
Catman would scratch those Achilles heels. Yeah.
No, it's quads.
What about Kevin Nash dressed as Catman? That'd be good.
Oh, yeah.
Kevin Nash is as big sitting down as he is standing up. He covers that much ground.
I don't ever want to meet him. I tried to.
I met him.
We saw him.
He made that. You remember? You know that movie studio, The Asylum, that makes the knockoff movies of all the big movies and stuff. Like I can't even think of some of the fake names. Like they do their version of a Transformers movie and it's complete crap. They did a Thor Ragnarok movie and Kevin Nash was Odin in it.
Wow.
Why wasn't he Thor?
I think he's too old to be Thor.
Was he cool when you met him, Johnny?
Yeah, he was nice. He was very nice. It was at a Wizard Chicago after hours at the Hyatt across the street from the Stevens Center. And no, he was very. I mean, it helped because Jeff Katz, who co-wrote the Booster Gold series with Jeff Johns and was a big WCW scenario writer. So he kind of introduced me to all the wrestling people, and Kevin, because I was introduced by Jeff and everything, was nice to me.
See that big crybaby doll I had back there?
Yeah, but zooming
I
in.
had that guy right there in the 1994, 5, 6, something like that. I wanted to meet Kevin Nash, and I walked up to him with that, and I asked, "Can you take a picture with my character?" And he looked at me and says, "Get that effing thing away from me, or I'll kill you both." And he's like, "All right." And I left. That's the only time I ever.
He was not messing around.
He didn't want that thing.
So you met him. There you go.
That's what. And then I never wanted to see him again. I saw him.
Why'd you want Kevin Nash with that picture? Anyway?
I wanted a photo. I don't know. And then he was in NWO at the time. And my friend Chris Hummel, he's he handles like the wrestlers. He's like he's a handler. So he has Steiner and Nash, and he had Scott Hall and all these, and that's how I got to meet Mr. Anderson and stuff, and so he had the NWO guys. He had Nash and Hall and that other guy, the other guy, X-Pac. Yeah, he had those guys, and he said, he goes, "Hey, Artie, you want to meet this guy?" I said, sure. And he goes, "You want to meet those Kevin Nash, Scott Hall?" And I looked at them and went, "No." And he, why not? Because I had that flashback of when I remember I went, "No."
And he's going to remember you and kill you. And he's like, where's your stupid little doll? I want to kill him too.
Kevin Nash looked up at me and I just went, "No." Didn't even. And then when I met Scott Steiner, same thing. He goes, "Oh, come on, meet Scott Steiner. Meet Scotty. Hey, this is my buddy Artie." And he just looked at me and didn't say a thing. And then he goes, "Hey, Artie, you want a free photograph?" I'm like, "No. I want to pay for it." So I actually paid for Scott Steiner. No.
Was he nice then?
No, he's mean the whole time. He's like wanted to kill me. He wanted to bite my neck and eat it. He wanted to kill me. So I
didn't talk to Samoa Joe or Sergeant Slaughter. Did you, Franco?
No.
They were at Terrificon.
We were years ago.
Danhausen, was he there?
No.
I think last year we were
he was there last year, but not this year. Yeah,
he seems like he'd be cool to meet.
At C2E2 last year when I brought the kids, and we had the free buffet, for breakfast. So the place was packed, and then Scott Steiner walks in with his tray. And
big difference.
Even it's a big difference. About 300 pounds.
Big plump.
And,
exactly.
So he's walking in with his muscles in his arms and his sunglasses on, and he had his hoodie on stuff. So he maybe no one will know him. And so me and my son Gordy's like, "Dad, there's that wrestler." I'm like, "Yep." And he's walking in and he got his food and he's looking for a table, and all of a sudden everyone recognized him. And then you could see his face. And he got out there. He just left. And then Gordy's like, "He's been compromised, Dad. He's been compromised."
He's been compromised.
So when we walked in, we were able to go to breakfast and get into the show early, brought the kids and still got it set up. And we're walking in and we walked past Scott Steiner's table, and he was eating his breakfast behind his table with his muffin and his coffee. And then I ended up giving him the Wolfpack, that wolf soup, and he went, went too sweet, and he went like this. He was so mad still. So
Jonathan Conrad says his buddy presided over the funeral of the Iron Sheik.
Did the Sheik? Oh, Sheik. Oh. What about that other guy? Is he still alive? That other Pharaoh guy?
Psycho Sid just passed away, right?
Yeah, he just died too.
How about Baron who was the Russian that was always paired with the Iron Sheik?
Oh yeah,
Ivan
Nikolai Volkov.
Volkov. He was a taxi driver in my local town here. After the WWE, he couldn't get work, so he was a local taxi driver.
Let me take you to the bar. Come on, you going to the bar? I'm like, no. Can I go?
Did he sing the Russian national anthem when he was driving people around?
Well, just like Artie, I was afraid to call him out because he was driving the car, so I didn't want him to, kill me.
Was he rushing to get everywhere?
Good Lord! Don't make me turn your microphone off.
Remember that guy Sabu?
Yeah.
I saw
Yeah.
him in a match with Rhino. Oh, this was. Did I ever tell you about this guy's on the air when the kid broke his face? When they had this show in Detroit, which
I
Detroit
think you
area.
told me this story
Yeah, the
recently, but not on
Wyandotte
the
show.
air.
Yeah, the Wyandotte show. Yeah, and it was me and
Tony Niello.
yeah, the Dragon Steamboat, Ricky the Dragon. We were the guests. So it was, because I remember telling him, like, he said, "Oh, the limo's gonna pick you guys up, and you're gonna take it to the show." And like, all right, cool. And so we had to meet at a Starbucks, and I saw Ricky the Dragon with his coffee, and I got mine, and I went, "Hey man, good to meet you." And he says, "You want to take a selfie with me?" I go, "Yes, but not at Starbucks." He goes, "Why not?" I said, "Wait till we get in the limo, and this people will know I'm with you rather than if I just went in." I'm like, "All right."
What kind
So-
of photo do you want to take in the limo?
Yeah, and I said, but he said, "Okay, I get it." So we got in the limo, and I was in front seat, he was behind me, and then I said, "You ready?" He went, "Wait, hold on." He got this bag. He opened up his bag, his actor kit, and he powdered up. He fixed himself real good. He put makeup on, and he says, "Okay, I'm ready." So I took the photo, and we were in the history was made. So at the show they had it was a comic book show, and next door was two big rooms, like it was two big gymnasiums, like a civic center local thing. So one was a big gym, and the other one was another bigger gym with bleachers. So one half was a comic show, and the other half was a wrestling show. After the comic show ended, the wrestling show would start, and it was the first time it was like, I don't know what a WWZ, WAWZ. So I remember there's a bunch of Z's and whatever the title, but the headliners were Rhino and Sabu. So after the comic book show started or finished, me and the wife and kids went over across the street to get Dunkin' Donuts to get donuts and coffee and stuff. And in walks Sabu and his genie girl. He had a I Dream of Genie looking a girl. And they walked in, but they were in costume, which was weird. He was in full costume with his headdress blowing outside. And he walked in, and they got their coffee, and the guy could barely walk. He was like 115 years old trying to walk through the door. And then when they walked out, even my kid said, "Dad, is that the wrestler who we're going to see today?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's him." They said he could barely walk. I'm like, "Yeah, he's going to fight today." I'm like, "Oh, okay." And then
How exciting!
Yeah, and the kids were like, "What?" And then so we got to the show, and Tony Mielo and they put us at the executive table. Like, "Here's your seat." We were along ringside. I had a table, and it was real nice. And so the wrestlers would come out and start wrestling, and they would all come to our table to say hi. So as they knew I was a guest at the show, but one of the guys was a Tiny Titans fan, and he was the bad guy. He was all bloodied up. He got hit in the face. He had face paint, and he's all banged up. And then he came over by the table and stood behind me, and I didn't know what was happening. But the kids' reactions, my two kids were like, they were hiding. They were scared. And I looked up, and I go, "Hey, man." And he went, "Are you Art Baltazar?" I'm like, "Yeah." And he goes, "I like your Tiny Titans comic. I read it to my kids." I stood up, and he hugged me, and then he walked away, and the kid says, "Dad, you're friends with the bad guy?" I'm like, yeah, he knows who I am. Like, wow. So later on, the bunch of guys started fighting, and there's tag team matches and hardcore street matches, and they're throwing garbage cans and ladders and crutches and chairs in the ring so they can hit each other. So as these guys were fighting, one of the crutches gets thrown out of the ring and lands in the front row and breaks a kid's face. Like,
Ow!
the crutch hit a kid's face, and he's bleeding all over. I'm looking like, wow, like I never been to a match where they're throwing this stuff out of the ring, like the chairs and all this heavy equipment, like metal things. And so it broke the kid's face, and the dad grabbed the kid hand, and they run backstage. So the show's still going on. I'm like, all right, what's happening back there? But the show's still going on. So the wrestlers who are fighting with the garbage, they're all in the crowd now, and they don't have security, so they fight in the crowd. But you see all these kids and young teenagers, they go and pummel on a bad guy because they don't know it's kayfabe. They know they think that's the bad guy, and the crowd is like a local crowd. So if one kid starts punching, they all pile on him. So a lot of wrestlers they were getting hit in the face and teeth and getting kicked in the ribs. So they cleaned it up, and then they brought out the match with Rhino and Sabu, and Rhino was at that time he was running for some kind of political office. I don't know what he was at that time, maybe mayor of a small town, but he's this giant guy. I think he's retired from wrestling, but he's real big still. And he's fighting Sabu, and he's throwing Sabu around the ring because this guy's like an old withered Stan Lee type guy, and he's just throwing him around. And then
Was Sabu moving okay in the?
yeah,
in the
he
ring?
was, and my kids were like, "Dad, how can he move like that? He could barely walk."
He got his Starbucks coffee.
Yeah, and so he's getting thrown around, and finally, Sabu set up a bunch of chairs. He hit Rhino with a bunch of chairs, and then you could tell Rhino knew what was happening. So Rhino, you see him look up, like he's on the ground, but he looks up, and he gets up and looks at the guys, and he just does the X. We're done, because Sabu ran at him with a chair, and he made a big loud noise, and so Rhino just grabbed Sabu and tied him up and held him, and Sabu's trying to kick on. He ended the match, and so Sabu, that's the last I've ever heard that he wrestled because he was getting hurt. So meanwhile, the Rhino goes backstage, and you hear between each match, you hear yelling and shouting because that dad's back there with his bloody kid. So and so Rhino comes out with the dad and the kid, and he raises the hand. You know what? What hardcore? Who's hardcore? This guy and this guy are hardcore. Like, yeah. And then there's Happy, and it like Rhino diffused that. And I kept thinking, man, if one of my kids got hit in the face, got their teeth broken and nose broken, man, that would be called Baltazar's Wrestling. The next, I would own that show. So that was the show experience. And then a few years later, I saw Tony, and about 2 years later, maybe. And I said, hey, man, whatever. I haven't seen him. He disappeared. Like, whatever happened to your show over there? And he says, oh, you were there. You remember when that kid got hit with the crutch? I'm like, yeah. He said he had to pay all the damages, all the hospital, and all the money he made at that one show and the wrestling show. He had to pay for all of the damages. So that was the one time it debuted and ended, and it kind of destroyed all his hopes and dreams for any kind of comic show, wrestling show. I was like, damn. I said, man. And then I kept thinking, man, I wish I got hit. I would have still had a wrestling show. I would have had a wrestling show, you know.
Like, Rhino he ran for the Michigan Assembly.
Yeah.
And then, as you said, Artie, he became, he ran in 2020, he ran for the Monroe Township Board of Trustees in Michigan as well, all in Michigan.
Yeah,
so
that sounded good because I know I saw his face with the suit on a poster somewhere at that time. Yeah.
There you go.
It's funny too. It's like I have on my fridge. If you ever come over to my house and see my fridge, I have a whole bunch of guys lined up with suits and ties, like portraits of guys. And so people say, who are all these people on your fridge? And I said, those are guys who rang my doorbell. They all rang my doorbell at one time. So it's all like either real estate guys or business guys or plumbing guy who are like, oh, if you're in the market, you want to sell your house, here's my card. I'm like, all right, thanks. Like, hey, I heard you had a spider problem. Here's my card. You know, I got all of these. So what I do is if their face is on the business card, I cut them out and I put them on. I just put the portrait on my fridge. So I got about 7 or 8 guys lined up on the top of my fridge, and they look good. I mean,
is one of them Rhino?
I should have got his card. Yeah. So and especially election time, real estate time, election time, I always get all of these things. And I don't know where these guys come from. And also when people get married, I get invited to weddings, and there's a happy couple, especially if it's like one of my friends' kids, and nobody knows who they are. They go on my fridge. So I have like Patrick Scullin's kids are still on my fridge. He got married about 4 or 5 years ago, and they're still on my fridge. So I have a whole bunch. I have kids who graduated, kids who are babies, and they're already teenagers now. They're still on my fridge. Anytime somebody looks good with a tie on or something, So if you guys ever have a portrait with a tie, just mail it to me. I'll put it on my fridge.
I'll see if I get a photo of myself in my jacket and tie this weekend.
Mm-hmm. So that's what was happening when we were having I threw away a love letter written to my wife on accident because she was someone left a love letter on our bench out there. So I saw it earlier and I looked at it. She threw it away. And she
Wait a minute. This is recent.
Yeah, this today. That's why she came down to get me. Yeah, she came down to get me because she was expecting the letter, but I didn't know what it was. I threw it away. I thought it was something important in there. No, but I had to go in the garbage because garbage days tonight. So I put everything on the street, at the end of the driveway. So I'm like, oh, I know where it is. I put it in the garbage. I can't have my wife go out there digging through garbage. So no, it's a business. They gave her a letter with stuff she asked. But my wife does so many things she does everything in the house. Like all I have to do is draw comics every day and try not to, disturb anyone when I go to bed. But that's all I do is draw and make things happen and travel and do all this stuff. But she does all of the house stuff. If we need to paint the house or do whatever to the house, she does it all. So that letter had something in it because we're getting something done at the house. So
I thought it was a love letter you wrote to them.
No, it wasn't really a love letter. So I don't know. Hopefully it was an informational letter. So hopefully there's a portrait of a guy with a tie in there. And that's what got me on this rant. Because everyone's probably like, why did Artie leave? Yeah. So
don't worry, we'll cut that part out.
Yeah, Johnny left. Are we still on? It's like this isn't good radio. He's just talking about stuff.
This is the most boring story ever. I'm out of here.
Nothing to research. I can't look up anything right now.
Yeah.
We're still on. Good, Johnny.
Oh, Johnny's still here, but not here.
YOKO chips.
He just sent us a note.
Yeah,
Tex Avery.
He's in this Phantom Zone.
Yeah.
Man, he hasn't been in the Phantom Zone in a long time.
So it's been good, man. It's been good.
Yeah.
Look at that. Ninja Star.
Oh, Johnny's training.
Now it's echoing.
Echo.
I like it. So the other day, I had some amazing ice cream.
Really?
Some, you know me, I'm a vanilla guy. I like vanilla ice cream, big time. Right? We went to with Mitch, the owner of Terrificon, Connecticut's #1 Terrificon. We went to the Norman Rockwell Museum. Ooh.
Are we echoing again?
Yeah, echo.
All right, sorry.
Echo.
So we went to the Norman Rockwell Museum, but we got ice cream because we were just chilling out. I'm gonna get some ice cream. Me too. So they had all these flavors, but I'm always drawn to vanilla. But I was in the mood for something different, and they had ice cream with some fruit in it. But I don't like dried fruit. I like real fruit. So I asked them.
You like it wet fruit?
Yeah, not that wet fruit. Like chunks of real fruit.
Chunks of sloppy, wet, juicy.
So they had
fruit.
Get this. They had amaretto cherry.
Ooh.
It was so good. It was amaretto liqueur. And whole cherries with ice cream. Oh my god, it was so good. Yeah, that's
good. It's a good story.
But then we went to the Norman Rockwell Museum to see the Mad Magazine exhibit, which was really cool. I'm sad that they're not doing Mad Magazine anymore. They're still doing it. But they're
Echo.
Yes.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Damn it.
Speaking of ice cream, years ago I had I forgot her name already. I knew her 20 years ago.
No. Well, I'm talking about actual ice cream, not a person.
Well, yeah, I am too.
Oh.
But her parents owned an ice cream place that or a deli or something like that, but they had ice cream. And her parents were either Japanese or Philippine, and the mom couldn't say vanilla. So when people would come in, they would say, "What kind of ice cream you have?" She said, "We got chocolate, vanilla, and strawberry." And they're like, "Oh, I'll take banana. That sounds good." She goes, "We don't have banana. We have vanilla." Like, what?
All right, careful.
No, it's funny. It's funny.
That's funny, but it's also problematic. Careful.
Is it?
Moving on. Yes.
All
yes.
Right. So
yes.
in other words, she took vanilla off the menu. Now they just put chocolate and strawberry. See, it wasn't bad.
Part of it was not good. It wasn't bad, but it was not good.
Yeah.
You got to be careful, buddy. It's a different world. You can't do that no more.
Can't say that no more?
Can't do that no more.
Can't call
Good
it
Lord.
banana?
I was debating about that hey man, that I do Sammy, and I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, I wonder if that's an issue. And it's like, no, because nobody talks like Mike Tyson, nobody talks like Sammy Davis Jr.
I talk like
I'm still,
Sammy all the time. Hey man.
well, yeah, and again, because it's individual. It's like, no, I don't feel
Yeah, it's a
bad doing it.
guy. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
not a
yeah.
it's not a
It's not a-
blanketed statement.
Right,
You know?
right. It's not a race. It's not. It's a guy. Hey man,
Mhm.
how
Hey,
how
man.
you doing?
And I feel
So
bad that I made that stupid joke.
it's all right. No, it's all right. I'm just saying. We just
Yeah.
threw down the
You
flag.
did.
It's okay.
Shut Artie's mic off right now.
No, not necessary.
We threw a flag on the field and then we did an audible. It was fine.
Yeah,
Was it
exactly.
traveling? Yeah.
It was all good. So anyway, I went to go see the Norman Rockwell, the Mad Magazine. Norman
Yeah, how
Rockwell.
was that? No, please.
It was really good, but I'm sad that they're not making new Mad magazines. They're just rehashing old stuff and
I
putting
know.
like different cover. They're commissioning different covers and putting different gatefolds on the back. You know, the fold-in thing.
Yes, yeah,
But yeah, it stopped a few years ago. I
Yes,
think
it did.
After Bill Morrison, he was the
That's
last.
Yeah,
right.
it got
That's
yeah,
correct.
about
The
10
last
years
editor.
ago, maybe. A long time
They
Not
had-
that
they had
long, but it
everybody
was
listed.
under 10 years. But it
I
has
think
been
it
a
was
few years now.
2017 or 2018 was
Something like
the
that.
last one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
No, I know a lot of our Tom Fowler used to work for Mad.
But they
And-
had
Bill and everything. Yeah.
our friends Jim Lee and Dan DiDio. Their names were on there because they were publishers at DC. And
So are they reprinting it again, but with old stuff? Is that what's
Yes.
happening?
yeah,
Yes,
It's still being printed.
it's like Best
Yeah.
of Mad. Yeah,
They got years and years, 50 years of content. They could just
Well,
restart it.
more than 50. Good Lord, like 70 years. Yeah, but like the problem is magazines, the magazine industry is like kind of not really happening anymore. I don't mean
Mhm.
comics, I mean magazines.
Comics
Um,
too.
Yeah, well, whatever. But
But it was
yes,
weird.
Wayne, I just said that Tom Fowler worked for Matt. Thanks for listening to what I'm saying.
Ombudsman. He's an ombudsman. One of the things I was wondering though was like it was cool to see the Mad Magazine exhibit there at the Rockwell Museum, but I'm like, why is it at the Rockwell Museum and not somewhere else? Like, usually they have a reason, and the reason was I found out when I was there is that at one point they wanted Norman Rockwell to do the definitive portrait of Alfred E. Newman, like a realistic portrait. I forget the guy's name who did him the first time, the portrait and stuff like that. But they wanted him to create the definitive portrait of him so that everybody else, like a style guide type thing, I guess. But he was going to do it, but then he spoke to his wife and he's like, well, this isn't really me, Mad Magazine and stuff like that. Even though he did like funny pictures sometimes and stuff, he's like, yeah, I think it'll be not to my benefit, or wouldn't benefit me, or
Not to
wouldn't
my
be me.
interest.
Yeah, not to my interest, basically. So he didn't do it after that. But the letters were on display back and forth from him and Mad Magazine, so that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
His nephew was a comic book assistant for, I want to say, Milton Caniff. Yeah.
God bless you.
Rockwell's nephew. Yeah. So
I want to say that.
I think that was the first case of not to my interest ever recorded, Franco.
I think it
It
was.
might have been. The
I think it
history
was
of it.
back in caveman days when the Thag was trying to sell the wheel, to Ugg, and he's
who
like,
was
and
Trying to
Ugg-
sell a
Thag,
barrel.
Thag.
What?
It's Thag. Thag.
Can't say that no more.
Can't say that.
I didn't say that. I said the other thing. From the far side, the Thagomizer.
You
know,
said
the
it
end,
4 times.
the end, the thing on the end of the dinosaur.
I have
with the
no
big
idea
hole
what
in
you're
the-
talking about, and a lot of our audience is incredibly offended. I'm kidding.
I'm a little offended, but
Turn
only
Johnny's
part
mic
of me.
off for a second, will you? So in the far side, the dinosaur with the big ball and spikes
Oh,
on the
my
end
God.
of it, that's called
Yeah.
the Thagomizer. But it was
Thag,
named
TH.
that's what I keep saying.
Well,
Listen to
Mushmouth,
me.
I didn't know what the hell you were saying. Yeah. I'm like,
Listen to me as I enunciate.
That part of the dinosaur is called that, or the whole dinosaur?
That part of the dinosaur, because they named it after Thag, Thag, from the Far Side, Gary Larson. Yes, I'm offended, but not at Thag. There you go. See, he knows what we're talking about.
The Thagomizer. So that's kind of developed into the meat tenderizer. I bet it was called the meat Thagorizer at first.
No, it was named that for the character in the Gary Larson cartoon. It's a true story.
Okay.
But that thing on the dinosaur, what was it called before Gary Larson was
I
born?
don't think it had a name. It just was the thing, the ball.
That
ball
thing
thing
on.
that
He's
was
like
on
that
his
sharp tip he has.
Yeah.
The thing, don't touch it.
The
I
the
heard you.
tip, just the tip.
Just the tip.
See,
Dinosaur porn.
No one's gonna get offended at that, Johnny, because you heard that.
You're the one who said. You're the one who said it. So anyway,
Spiky.
I miss comic strips, and I'm glad they still exist, but it bums me out that you really have to work to like read them anymore.
Aren't most of them just digital now?
What do you mean?
Yeah.
You got to work to read them.
Well, like you have to subscribe to Comics Kingdom for all the King feature comic strips, or you have to do Go Comics, and that's the Tribune comic strips, and
They're
of course
all
the web comics.
Yeah, they're all
I mean, I
digital,
think
too.
yeah, I think papers still might carry them. I really don't know. God, I haven't bought a physical newspaper in years, and when I was working at BBM, we would get both the Tribune and the Sun Times and many copies at the newsroom, but I never really bothered to look at the comic strip pages anymore because they kept shrinking the strips, which sucked.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I know in other countries, comic strips are alive and well, but yeah, I don't know. Can't do that no more.
No,
you can't do a lot of stuff.
No more. You got to say no more.
No more. Can't do that no more.
Exactly.
Used to be able to. No. Nobody would care.
Really? Moto, wait a minute. Moto moi. Did any of you read The Far Side? Yeah, we all did.
Yeah.
Just because we don't know what a fag is, just relax, Moto. Honestly,
Moto. Now you've gotten Johnny upset.
Seriously. Well, just stupid things. It's like I have no patience today. You'll forgive me, everybody.
Maybe he's got to go fight some Powerpuff.
Yeah, exactly. Today.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think we all got Scoot didn't get yelled at yet.
No, not yet.
No, not yet. He will. I got to point out one thing, and but it went away.
Keep it up, Scoot.
Anyway.
Yeah. You're gonna be on the shit list soon. Keep it up, Scoot.
That's right. That's right.
The feces. The feces list. Speaking of feces, I miss Skoke. Where is he?
Speaking of feces, I miss Skoke.
Speaking of feces, we can ask Shite to come on.
We could. Squatchy feces. Because I watched one of Skoke's when he did that live talking play. He mentioned feces, and I laughed for about 10 minutes. And that was in his dialogue. He had to say feces. Yeah.
He had to say feces or the other word?
No, he said feces. Yeah, in his dialogue. Like, his character said it.
What do you think he's doing right now?
Acting somewhere?
Drinking that water?
Probably watching us.
Yeah, he's
you guys see my stretch monster I got?
No, show us.
He's right there. He's right there in the background.
Oh, I see him.
See him hanging up there?
Yeah.
He's my blow up stretch monster.
I don't think he could do that, sir.
Yeah, he could. He's doing it. But I want to show you guys something I have. I didn't have it prepped. Well, maybe next time. But I have the package of the stress monster is really suggestive. So I want to show it to you guys. I want to show it to you guys so I could get canceled. Yeah, but it's really suggestive. Funny. Yeah, I'm gonna find it for you. But it's really fun, and I know that it's either and I have to find it. So build it up. You built it up too much. But look what I found when I was out thrift storing.
Hold on. Zooming in.
I found the Cray Stick of Joy. This is a special, but it's never been used. See, I even cleaned it up, but I found it, and I walked into the store and I'm like, I need that.
It's never been used, but you cleaned it up anyway.
Yeah, it had like grime, like thrift store dust, and there might have been skin flakes on it. I don't know.
Ew.
But I had to clean it. Yeah, I hope not. I don't know where it came from.
That
it's my favorite breakfast cereal, Skin Flakes.
Yeah,
that's just
Mr. Skin Flakes.
When you buy stuff, when you buy stuff at the thrift store,
you
always have to be leery of that type of thing because there's a layer of dust. I don't know if that's from the thrift store or did it come from the house like that. So I always clean stuff. I put everything in the sink
Well,
all
of
the time.
course you're gonna clean
Yeah.
it. You're not gonna buy it from the dollar store and immediately start like eating with a utensil.
No.
You gotta wash
But
it.
this is gonna be
Johnny does that.
and yeah, this is a real cool. And I saw this and I just grabbed it. It was 75 cents. I needed
Cheap.
it. Yeah. And my wife
You
said,
should-
am I gonna straighten it out? Like bend
You
it
should-
so it's straight, but I'm not sure.
You should put the red stripe through the eye so it could be a Watchman spatula.
Oh yeah.
There you go.
Put ketchup on it. Mustard won't show
Alan
up. though.
Moore crawls
Yeah.
out
You
of a
can't say
toilet.
definitively that that's never been used before. You can't.
Well, I'm using it right now for the show.
Yeah.
But I don't think it ever scraped because there's no scrapage. Like there's no
If it had
scrapage here.
Pristine
if it had,
edge.
if
Yeah,
it
it's a
had
clean
skin
edge.
flakes on it, it
Skin
was
flakes.
scraped. Yeah.
Unless it was just used for pancakes because they're soft. But I don't know if burger, I don't think so. But it seems like a soft thing. But
This
yeah,
is
man,
fascinating. Can we continue on the
Mhm.
spatula, please?
Oh, man.
Moving on.
Sorry. Jeez.
Moving
All
on.
right, let me find.
You found an interesting toy, but it's time to move on.
Man,
There you go. Jesus
Okay, if we're
Christ.
keeping score,
I'm
Artie
sorry.
got
We
yelled
spent
at twice.
we
I got
spent,
yelled at
20
once.
minutes on. I can't even
0.
remember half the shit that we talked about. Oops. Sorry, feces.
After feces. I don't know where the package is, but it's
I like-
cool.
Anyway.
I like the show a lot better when Johnny wasn't on it. For a
Yeah,
second.
me too. Here, I'll leave.
He's always mad or something. He's mad all the time. Like, 'cause this is award-winning broadcasting right now. So like everyone we do, we got a massive 53 people at the end of the week who watch our show. It's like half the time you guys leave or I leave. Or, I don't know where the package is, but man, is it cool when I find it out. When I find it, I'll put it up. I don't know what I got. I find stuff and I just do whatever.
What are
I
those
do.
figures back there, Artie? To your
Which ones?
left. To your left, right there.
My left? This one?
Yeah.
These are all
Yeah, they're
Star
fi-
Wars.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're all some of my Star Wars guys.
Oh, I see the TIE fighter up there.
Yeah, these are all indoors on this shelf.
Yeah.
And I got some Dagobah and some winter guys up there.
You got them all, or are you still looking for some?
I got all of them probably. Most of the new guys I don't buy as much because they make too many. They make a Darth Vader in every set, so I don't need another one.
The
Are
retro
the
ones?
Star Wars figures the original Pokemon? Because you got to catch them all.
Maybe.
I remember in New York, Artie got a Man. That one.
Yeah, I did. I got all the original vintage, every one, even including Yak Face. I got Yak Face, and I got Prune Face. I got Butt
Is
Face.
Prune Face
I got all these guys.
a Dick Tracy character?
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
who's Prune
I think
Face
he
in
is.
Star Wars?
He's
Is that a real name? Is that a real
yeah.
name of
Yeah.
a character?
yeah,
Mhm. He's got a patch on his eye, doesn't he?
yeah. He's on I
Got a
can't
cloak.
reach him. He's in the war room in Return of the Jedi. Yeah, and
In
he's
the
sitting there.
background.
Yeah, he's sitting there. But there's a few Prune Faces, but they chose to make one out of the guys. But
I'm
they're just
still-
sitting there with like 2 or 3 of them.
I'm still mad that Wedge was like seen in Rise of Skywalker, but he didn't have any dialogue, and that pissed
Yeah.
me off. Because because that guy is still very active in British movies
Yeah,
and
he was-
TV.
He didn't speak in there. I know he was in the ship, but he didn't wear a helmet. They didn't have a helmet on him.
Isn't that Isn't that McGregor's like real
Yeah,
uncle
it's
or
his
something
uncle.
like that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that they're related. I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's his uncle.
How do you not know that, Johnny?
Shut up.
He's
my
a Star
God.
Trek guy.
Shut up.
Johnny's a
Um,
Star Trek guy.
Because I was gonna say my head's filled with Star Trek. All right, you guys do all the minutia of Star Wars. That's fine.
You do it.
Oh,
Artie,
you
did you
should.
see Acolyte got canceled?
Yeah, what'd you think of
Yeah.
Acolyte, Artie?
I liked it.
I liked
Colite.
it.
Yeah.
I know it caused problems with people and it did things that it probably shouldn't have. But every time it did stuff, I would react by like, oh, they did that. Okay. And I
Yeah.
would just accept it. And same with like showing Yoda and Plagueis and spoiler. I was like, oh, there's Plagueis. And then my first reaction is, wow, what's the internet going to say? What's YouTube guys going to talk about now? And like, I always knew what people were going to not like when I watched the show, but I enjoyed it. I liked it a lot. I wish I didn't like not much of it. Like I liked a lot of it, and I liked that all of the guys. I liked the way it ended, Except
What are you saying? I liked it a lot. I didn't like much of it, but
No,
that's two
I
different.
mean-
Are you Donald Trump? Are you
No.
conflicting? What are you
all
doing?
right,
let
quiet.
him
Let me
listen.
tell you.
Well,
Yeah.
explain it to me,
Because
Lucy.
you guys talk about the same. I don't want to say the same thing. I didn't like when the little kids. It's always like hard to put little kids in stuff because they're never good actors. Once in a
Yeah.
while you get a great kid, but it's hard. You got to get that I see dead people's kid for it to be good, you know?
Yeah. Star
Or you
Wars
gotta
has a
get it-
bad
or
track
Elliot.
record of little kids too.
Elliot's a good kid, but they're all grown up now. But you can't. So the twin girls were boring, and they decided to do that story twice, show us again, which I kind of wish that they uh, did that instead of flashing back. That would have been cool to see that. I would have liked to know how the witches made the kids
Sure.
and the girls who played, or the one girl who played the twins. I agree with you guys. That's why I was changing my mind because I didn't want to repeat what you guys said, Johnny. I'm sorry. I'm
No, I
ruining
just
the
didn't
show today.
understand you because again,
All right.
you're kind of you're in full ramble, which people love. Don't get me wrong.
All right.
But
Well,
it's like all right,
let him ramble and he'll get the stuff out.
Yeah,
Johnny.
so
Calm
get it
down.
out.
Come on.
So the girls, the actor girls, they didn't have that pop on screen. They were fine, but they didn't have that pop. And so the stars of the show were Saul, the Jedi leader, and it was the bad guy. I don't know, Quinn. I can't remember. That's the problem too. I can't
He
remember
was
the
in
kid.
he was in The Good Place and he was great
Yeah.
in that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I had an issue with the main girl. I just didn't feel like she was emoting anything or
May and OSHA.
yeah, like
That's what I just say. Yeah, they didn't.
well,
pop
I
up.
thought you were talking about the younger versions of them, but
Both of them.
yeah, I didn't like either one of them. And the other thing that really bothered me was all the haircuts of the Jedi. Like
No.
the young kid with the punky hair and
See,
I
I
don't know.
like that guy who with the guy who made a mistake in the interview and said that Anakin blew up the Death Star. Is that actor? He I liked him on the show, his character, and I like that they all got killed. I love that when
Yeah.
because watching this thing, I'm thinking, all right, everyone has to get killed because they're not supposed to know about this because that's when that guy said the Jedi have been extinct for a millennium, but he was in the show, and so that was a bold move by them, but it caused the internet, brought up all this stuff. But I want to see more because it ended in a way where the bad guy and his new apprentice are holding hands, looking at the sunrise like Luke Skywalker, and then Plagueis is watching it from the cave. So there needs to be answers because what's that bald green lady going to tell Yoda? Is she going to lie to him? Is she going to tell him the truth?
Right.
Is she going to use a Jedi mind trick on him? Like, what's going to happen?
No,
Like, nothing happened, you know.
They
So
used a lot of money to make this thing, so I guess it didn't do well rating wise.
Right.
I get that, but yeah, I would have liked to have seen more. And
Yeah,
the
it
fact
needs
that they killed all those spoilers, that they killed all those Jedi was like, I'm like, they actually did that. That was kind
Yeah.
of cool.
And I like the way they killed Saul when she bled the lightsaber because when it turned red. And there's a lot of references in it to other lore that's in the comics and other stories. Like bleeding and lightsaber has only been in the comics, and where she had to kill a Jedi without using weapons, that was in the comics. That was one of Vader's first trials. Like Vader, and he bled the lightsaber he bled was his first victim. Like he had to go and kill a Jedi without weapons. So there's a comic book, I think it's a Dark Horse comic, where he faces a Jedi Master because they still got Jedi to slaughter. They're not all dead. So he goes out and hunts one without a lightsaber, and he steals his lightsaber after he kills him, and he bleeds the crystal red, and that becomes Vader's lightsaber. So that part,
I like that you call it bled. Is that the actual term for
Yeah.
what happens?
they bleed it. Yeah, they
Oh, wow.
bleed the color out and turn it red
I
because
didn't know that. Yeah.
yeah, they turn it into a Sith crystal. And so Sith, it leads me to believe, which I don't know if it's true, but all the Jedi or Sith crystals have been Jedi crystals at one point. I think that's what it is because there's been
That makes sense. Yeah.
like I watched all these things. I watched Clone Wars. I read a lot of the comics. I follow a lot of these things, and there was a Clone Wars cartoon where all of the Jedi Padawans had to go and find their crystal, and each Jedi has to feel the Force like guide them through this cave or this temple, and it's dangerous. It could be dangerous, and it's always the dark side trying to scare you. So if you're frightened, you could fail. And there's like the episode's cool because there's a Wookiee Jedi, and there's a bunch of kids. It's a bunch of Padawan kids, but they all get their crystals, and that was touched upon in this show a little bit, but I forgot what part. But I know that referenced that episode, and then the helmet that he was using, like that could extinguish the lightsabers. Like I think he had bracelets too, would extinguish the lightsaber. That's a metal that's found on that planet, and we're assuming that the planet he's on has that metal, because there was one point I saw a rock, maybe in his fortress. I only saw the one
that Plagueis was in and hiding in that formation.
Yeah, like when the kid was cooking like Yoda in his pot, and he's telling her all this stuff, and she put the helmet on. Where on that wall was like, it's called like Cordex or Cordurex, something like that. Like it's like corduroy boat or X and a corduroy, and it was in that wall structure. So it's a natural mineral from rocks in the Star Wars universe that could extinguish the lightsaber. So that and the Mandalorian armor, Beskar, those are the two things that could fight, that could
Stop
hold
a lightsaber.
stop a lightsaber strike. But Beskar doesn't extinguish it. Beskar blocks it, but this stuff could extinguish. So he was hitting stuff, and he was headbutting the lightsabers, and it was going out.
Yeah.
So I liked all that stuff. And so
I liked his mask looked almost kind of like a Joker with the smile.
Yeah,
and
look,
like
it
that.
reminded me of the Alien, Xenomorph a little bit.
It looked a little bit like Kylo Ren's mask too, the shape of it.
Yeah, they were
Yeah,
calling
that's
him.
what I thought too. Yeah,
The internet was calling him Smilo Ren.
Smilo
And,
Ren.
And yeah, but what I liked about it, like I watch it, and I make sure I watch it first before I listen to all these reviews and all these internet people talking about it. And I always know, like I said, I always know what they're going to argue about. And I don't really have a problem with a lot of this stuff. I had a problem with the girls being the first virgins of the Force, but then they kind of made up with it where Snoke was watching them, and maybe Snoke said, "Hey, let's do it." But I think the girls needed to die. But maybe in the second part they would have, but they didn't get there. But then also, people make videos about this show crapping on Star Wars lore, and just and they get mad at Kiamati Undi being in there. They get mad at Snoke in there, mad at Yoda, get mad at the Virgins of the Force. But all of this other detail is directly from Star Wars legacy stories, which is really cool because, and same with the Ahsoka show, bringing Thrawn in there. And Thrawn was brought into Rebels. So all of this stuff that when Star Wars or Disney bought Star Wars and they destroyed, and they said, all of that's not canon anymore. It's called Star Wars Legends. But they're bringing it in slowly and using it. And which I was hoping, well, you can't do it now because like those sequels messed up the characters. Like that's not where their destinies were in the comics. Like Han became a general, and where he was in charge with Leia, and their kids went on to do. They had 3 kids. They had twins, and then I think another boy, and then Luke got married, and he broke the Jedi tradition of he found love, got a wife, and had a boy.
Because that's what I wanted the last 3 films to be about. You
Right.
know, Luke and Mara Jade and all
the
that
kids.
other stuff.
Yeah, and their kids.
And I don't know why they wouldn't adapt Timothy Zahn's books. And they would.
Well, they don't want to
I understand why they wouldn't adapt that, but at least do something with those characters.
Yeah, along that line. Yeah.
They didn't really do anything with that. Yeah.
But as far as the Acolyte getting canceled, I was like, damn. I was like, oh man, I wanted to see more. Unless they make if they just make a movie to wrap it up, that would be fine too. Because it loosely.
They might use plot points in other stories. So there's the possibility is there. But like Franco said earlier, and Mitch said it on my show a couple of weeks ago or last week, it cost $180 million. That's like a movie budget.
Yeah, it is.
If it didn't create more subscribers, then it didn't
Yeah.
it didn't, it didn't justify the cost. And
Yeah.
as I keep saying, and I was telling a friend this, in fact, it's probably Don Lenza that was in the chat. It's like, don't confuse indifference for hatred or anti whatever message you're putting out there, because
Yeah.
I just got bored with it and I bailed. And I'm like, I got no problem with any of the ideas that they were putting out there, but it's like, just make a better story and better characters.
Yeah.
And like you said, Artie, the flashback storytelling only confused what they were trying to tell, rather, and they should have really just tried to tell a linear story. And a lot of shows do that. And it's like, don't confuse us, man. And especially something like Star Wars, where the audience has kind of a general idea of what's happening and stuff. It's like, I think
they made some really poor choices in how they handled things. Overall, I like the story and I want to see more. But like, hiring someone like Carrie Ann Moss and then killing her off in the first episode doesn't really do you much in terms of wanting people to come back and see. Like, even it's that flashback stuff that I hate. Like, okay, now we'll see her in flashback. Well, we already know she's dead type stuff.
Yeah. And there was a lot of cool stuff with I love when the Jedi confronted the witches and then the witch took over that kid's mind.
Mm-hmm.
But that would have been told better if it was happening as you're watching instead of
exactly.
And same with the Wookiee. The Wookiee Jedi was cool. The fight with him and they took him over.
Yeah.
All of that would have been great. All of that the whole story about the planet blowing up and
but those
burning down.
All that stuff came in the later episodes, which is exactly my point. If they did it in a linear fashion, I think it would have been a lot better. Like,
I agree.
Kind of unfolding this way, but
yes.
Yeah.
I like what Wayne says here. I think it would have been better if they used cloning instead of the girls being a manifestation of the Force, since cloning was outlawed. I agree, Wayne. That's a very good point.
Yeah. I like the witches. They could have fixed it up and cleaned it up a little better if they were the Dathomir witches, the witches that created Darth Maul. They were from Clone Wars cartoon.
Mm-hmm. The red ones.
Yeah, and they're also in Ahsoka. They're the same witches in Ahsoka, and that would have connected it perfect, because you don't need another species. And
now, I have a question. In the Ahsoka one, that's the witch. That was the same witch you're talking about. The one that she.
Those are the Dathomir witches from
right.
That created Maul. Darth Maul species came from there.
I wanted to clarify. Go ahead.
Yeah, because in the Clone Wars, they resurrected Maul. They found him all cut in half, and it was insane. So they kind of like gave him more powers. They brought him back and brought his mind back to him. But then they created his brothers, Savage. I think it's one guy, Savage Opress, his name was. And I think they're always two, because there's two figures and I bought the two, but they're different. But it's the same guy, but he's yellow and black instead of red and black. And he was made by the witches to go attack Kenobi and all that stuff. But that was the species that they should have put as the witches instead of, I don't know what this species is called. And the cool thing about it, so they're not a species. Everyone in the witch cult is all different. They're all different aliens. And I guess one of the mothers was a Darth Maul species. She had the horns and stripes.
Yeah, right. They're kind of like Jedis a little bit, or Sith, or whatever,
But like, I was fine with that too, but because it was different, and I liked that they turned into like dark magic kind of things. They called it. What did they call it? The thread instead of the Force. They call it the thread.
Yeah. Yep.
Which was cool, because like it reminded me of different religions. Like everyone has a different name for God,
right?
And different, but it's always like the same thing is no fight, no crime, be nice to each other, is in every religion. And same with the Force. It's a binding thing. It's part of nature, and you can't control it, and you.
Yeah, but if they're introducing magic, why does the Force have to be the only magical type of thing that everybody subscribes to? It could be something else, like you said, a different.
Yeah, it could. Yeah. They called it the thread, and the Dathomir witches, I never thought it was the Force, and then plus everyone calls these witches lesbians and stuff, but and whatever. But in the Dathomir witches, I don't recall anyone ever calling them lesbians, and they're a group of witches too. But maybe because they're all the same species, I don't know,
I
but
don't know either.
yeah, it's just odd, and
Yeah.
that I think all the backlash and the people analyzing the show every week kind of hurt the show as well.
Well, yeah, I mean that's the thing. There are these like trolls, for a lack of a better word, that really are just hate on everything.
Yeah,
But again, it's like I do think there's just like in Star Trek, I think there's a segment of the audience that it's like I just am indifferent to what you're putting out there. And
yeah,
also I think there's been diminishing results in every show. And I mean, that's like Obi-Wan was not there were things about the Obi-Wan show that people didn't like. And I
right.
don't blame them. And there were things about as Mandalorian even progressed. All right, well, that season wasn't as good and everything.
Andor, yeah.
And
Yeah,
I mean, I liked Andor, but I appreciate people like Artie that didn't like Andor.
yeah, I couldn't take
You
it.
know,
But
yeah,
like,
I get it.
what's happening too? I feel like this show and with season 3 of Mandalorian and even Obi-Wan, they make them too long. Like they stretch Obi-Wan. You really felt it. It should have been
Yes,
four
yes,
episodes, and
yes.
because there's so
I
many
can't say yes enough.
Obi-Wan. I like Obi-Wan. I always watch it once, and
Yeah.
then I watch it once looking for stuff. Then my second time I could really enjoy it. But with Obi-Wan, I watch them all. I'm watching Book of Boba Fett again right now, and um, but Obi-Wan, it's when you can't remember the characters' names, that's a problem. And remember the girl in Obi-Wan who she tried to help him and then she disguised an Imperial officer. It's
Yep.
like I know she was a main character, but I don't know who she is. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm with you.
If you told me
Yeah.
her name, I would say, okay, I don't even
Yeah,
know.
exactly.
And
No.
and they should have like at least she should have like I don't know. There should have been like a romantic connection because when she died, you didn't feel it. Like he didn't. Obi-Wan didn't show it. Like in the Clone Wars series, he fell in love with the Mandalorian queen, and so when they got attacked, and I think she got killed. I'm not sure, but I know that Obi-Wan felt it. I remember the scene. He was dressed like a red trooper. He was dressed like a red Mandalorian, and they took him over, and Darth Maul took over, and I think they killed the queen. You felt it with Obi-Wan because he loves her, but he can't because he's Jedi and it's code and everything. That could have happened with this girl in the Obi-Wan show, and then he could have thought about the Mandalorian queen. But when she died, nothing. There
Well, I
was
think
no
that's the
impact.
problem. They don't build up enough of this stuff for you to
Mhm.
have feelings for anybody.
Yeah,
I know you haven't watched Ted Lasso, but that's one of the things they do expertly in that show is
yeah,
there's these minor characters everywhere, and you feel for every single one of them because they do such a good job
yeah,
with their backstories and stuff like
Yep.
that. Even if it's
Yep.
very minor or fleeting or something, there's always some characterization stuff. With the acolyte, these two girls, I felt absolutely
yeah.
nothing for them.
Right. Even when their moms died, they didn't.
Yeah,
They didn't cry like.
And if
It wasn't devastating for him.
if you don't care about the character or the actors that are playing the character, this is my
Mhm.
problem with the Flash movie.
Hmm.
And I have nothing against Ezra Miller, but I wasn't crazy about their portrayal of Barry Allen, and frankly, I didn't like the way they were acting as Barry Allen. Well, that's basically the same thing, but yeah, it's like, well, if you don't like the actor and you don't like the character they're playing, it's like, well, then you're probably not going to like the movie or the TV show.
Yeah.
It's gonna
And
be
again,
hard
it's
to get in it. Yeah.
yeah, and also like you said, Artie, too many of these things are made and they're flabby in terms of their storytelling. Like
Yeah.
you said, it should have been 4 episodes,
Couldn't
and
tighten it up.
that's across the board with
Right.
a lot of these intellectual property holders right now.
Mhm.
Amazon is having that problem with the Hobbit show. I think Paramount's having that problem with a lot of the Star Trek shows, and same with Disney and Star Wars, and even Doctor Who. I would put that there as well.
Like it's
Although
almost
Doctor Who
like
is Doctor's a little more episodic, and that's fine.
yeah. Like the
Self-contained
first
story.
season of Mandalorian was cool because it was
Yeah.
episode. Second one was great because it closed off that arc. It had a huge finale. Still, Luke Skywalker chopping down all those robots is probably one of the best epic things that ever happened in Star Wars. And then season 3 was a whole bunch of setup, and they went nowhere. They reset the whole thing, but the whole thing was filled with cameos from Saturday Night Live people and Lizzo and Doc Brown. Like it was so. I never. That's the only thing I haven't watched twice. 'Cause
Do
I
you
couldn't
think we'll
take it.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. And Artie, if I came on strong, I was having fun, and I'll tell you after the show too.
Oh,
But
yeah,
I feel
we're
bad.
good.
I feel bad,
Yeah.
sir.
No,
But
no worries.
I do. But anyway, no, truly. Anyway, do you get? I forget her name, but was it the third sister in the Obi-Wan show? The woman that
Yeah,
was at
Reva.
C2E2 Artie that
Yeah,
you
Reva.
met and everything. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Do we ever think we'll see Reva again in any Star Wars stuff?
I think they should. And
But do you think we will?
I don't know. I asked Reva to tell me, but with one blink, she was wearing a mask. I said, one blink for yes, two for no. She just went like this. But
What'd she do?
she just moved her face real fast with her eyes, blinked. So, and I say, I don't. It would be cool to do a season 2 Obi-Wan. I don't think they're going to.
Oh
But
yeah.
because they I love the Obi-Wan. I still like it a lot. I watch it like 3 times already. I still enjoy
Really?
it. Yeah, but because I love all the Vader and Obi-Wan stuff. But all of this extra stuff is like padding. I like that big robot guy, the big
Yeah.
industrial guy. I like.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff in it I like. Same with Boba Fett. There's a lot of stuff in it I like. Boba Fett should have been cooler. Should have been better. They should have saved the Mando stuff for season 3 Mando. That's how it should have started. But I get it. I get what
I
they
said
did.
this the other day on the Star Trek Star Trek thing. They have a new game coming out called Outlaws that looks fantastic, and I'm like, why don't they make that a movie?
Right,
Like
I saw that. Yeah,
like instead of
For
doing
Star Wars, yeah. Star Wars Outlaws, yeah.
like just start with all new a new character and give us something like we haven't seen before. Like
yeah. But
Well,
with the
and move forward as opposed to
Right.
backwards. I mean, that to me is a big problem as well. Is we keep every one of these IPs. Well, let's get more of the backstory, and it's like we don't need it. We
No,
want to
we
move
don't.
forward. Give
What-
us new stuff.
yeah, what would happen like during? There's it's a long form answer to the question: will we see Reva again? But the with all these things with Mandalorian, Boba Fett, and Ahsoka, and that's why Boba Fett or Mando ended where it reset because it put Mando back as a bounty hunter, but now he's a dad. Now he has a house. He's watching his kid play in the backyard. You know, it's kind of like a happy ending. But so they can never have to go back to him ever. But I know they're making a movie. And the movie said it's going to connect all these things. It's going to connect the shows. It's going to connect Mando, Ahsoka, and Boba Fett. That's what I've been hearing. I don't know if it's true. I definitely saw some footage of Mando, Grogu, a little snippet broke on the internet. But what I thought would be cool is you take all these characters who survived. You have, well, Fennec Shan. Hopefully she shows up in Grogu movie. But you got Reva. She survived. And
She'd
maybe
be an old lady though, right?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, she have to be older. So
Right.
hopefully this Ray movie will connect some of this and kind of bring some of these characters from the Disney shows into the Ray movie, whether she's an old Jedi Master now.
I'm
something like
interrupting.
that?
I'm sorry, but
Yeah.
I'm not up on this stuff lately. But is the Ray movie actually happening? Because I know that there was talk about
I
it.
think
And
so. I don't know.
oh, okay.
It's,
Because I know that there was talk about it, and then I'm excited. I want to see one.
yeah, I want to see
Because
it.
it'll be like past everything else finally and moving forward.
Yeah,
But sorry, I interrupted. Go ahead.
yeah, but the bad thing they do, what Star Wars people are doing, is they're hiring these directors who they famously say in interviews, "I've never watched Star Wars. I never watched it as a child." And one of the interviews for the Ray movie was saying, I don't know what the quote is, but kind of like she said, like, it's time we take Star Wars back from the men and make it for women. And I'm like, all right,
Good luck.
first
Good
of
luck.
all, make it. I don't know what to say about
Make it
that.
for everyone.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but seriously,
Or
and
here-
that's been driving me crazy
But here's what you do:
for like the last year. Please,
you make
go
it
ahead.
for Star Wars fans.
Yeah.
Don't try to alter it where these people who've been enjoying Star Wars like me since I'm 8 years old. I saw it in 1977 in the theater. I'm buying all these toys. I got shelves of stuff on my shelf. I got Blu-rays. I got DVDs. I got VHSs of the same movie. I probably got 7 edition of Star Wars. Now, when I put on Star Wars in my house, my wife goes to bed and my daughter's like goes on her phone or leaves. So that's telling me Star Wars is for the boys. Like, I don't know. I'm not saying it's a boy thing,
Yeah,
but
think
I'm
it
saying
can be
that
for
out of the
everyone.
I
millions
would
of
say it's for the fans, not the boys.
Yeah, it
Well,
can.
well,
It
listen,
can be
no.
for everyone.
Well,
But
here's
go
what
ahead.
I'm saying. It's not for boys. I'm saying out of the, if you take 1,000,000 people, how many of those 1,000,000 people are male and how many are female?
But it's. Go ahead. I'm
All
sorry.
right, 2/3, or 2/3 of probably male viewers, and then 1/3 is female. I don't know, but
But
if you're gonna make Star Wars different than what it already is, you're gonna make all the people who enjoy Star Wars not like it.
I
And
agree with that. But I do think much. I always point to Deep Space Nine and Voyager, the Star
yeah,
Trek shows, because they involved women characters, but not at the expense of excluding male characters.
right,
And when you hear quotes like the woman that created the Acolyte, and
yeah,
the actor that played both parts of the Acolyte, the adult version, and it's like, well, and it's like, well, it like you said, that quote of it's time to give the show to the women. Well, why would you exclude 50% of the audience?
right.
And why not make something that has characters that can be represented so everybody can enjoy? And I'm
And
sorry,
yeah,
that's so basic.
I'm gonna
But I
I'm gonna push
believe in
back on the
today's, I believe real fast, Franco. I believe in today's environment, there really is this moral imperative by both the studios and some of these creators to do exactly what Artie's saying don't do, and that is make it about these people and exclude everybody else. And it's
no,
like,
don't exclude anyone. Just
yeah, why would you do that? Why would you do that?
But don't. If you're in charge of Star Wars, don't say that stuff. Like, just make something and let us watch it, because the Ray director came out and said that, like, we're not making it for men anymore, or something like that. She said, and
Well,
same with the Alkalite lady said that too.
yes, I suspect, especially since Bob Iger is back in charge of Disney, that a lot of these initial decisions to move a lot of the content towards a more female audience, a more, depending on your orientation, audience,
Yeah,
I think a lot of those exclusions to traditional, what we've expected from Star Trek and Star Wars and Marvel, because they haven't succeeded as well, I believe a guy like Bob Iger is like, hang on a second, let's rethink this. Because Born Again was rewritten. You know that Captain America New World Order that's coming out, that was reshot in a lot of ways. And I really have a feeling that the guys on top are starting to make those moves within Disney, Marvel, and Lucas. And I mean, they're above Kathleen Kennedy, the woman in charge of Star Wars now. But honestly, Paramount is still up in the air when it comes to Star Trek, because they finally got sold. And in fact, Don Lenz and I were talking about this afternoon, that the new owner wants to be involved creatively. And again, because of the lack of a return on the investment and how expensive these streaming shows and movies are, that maybe we're going to see a return for more balance and more inclusion of everyone, and not just a woman Star Wars movie, or not just a gay Star Wars movie. It's like, again, by all means have gay characters, by all means have strong women. That's great.
Yeah.
Please do that. Please do that. I think that's wonderful.
yeah.
But not to the exclusion of male characters. Sorry.
Well, everyone fits in Star Wars. It's a universe built with different people and aliens and different planets. So there's,
I mean, it was funny.
Characters in the show.
It was funny back in the day when Chasing Amy came out, and the black character in Chasing Amy's like, how come there are no other than Lando? There's no other black people in Star Wars, and it's like, no, that's a fair shot, and it's funny. So fix it. And again, the same thing with, great, we got Leia. How about some more women? Fix it. Wonderful idea. But again, to the exclusion of male characters, I don't get it.
See, the whole thing is like, the shows to me have been fine. I haven't none of that kind of stuff. I didn't see a lot of that stuff in there that took me out. But the problem is the director saying it before the movie comes out. And so I started thinking, because Franco asked if the Rey movie's still happening, and the reason why I don't know is because she said that stuff. So I don't know if Star Wars is playing cleanup, like, oh, why don't say that?
That's why. Well, the fact that they're now making a second season of The Acolyte, and like I said, while there's been no overt declaration from Bob Iger and Disney, it seems like all the evidence is there of okay, the last few things that we've put out there, both TV and film, have not performed to the expectations that we had.
Yeah.
Maybe we need to rethink some of these stories, and maybe we need to make some adjustments and stuff. So it will be, I mean, honestly, I'm looking forward to the Captain America movie. I know that's Marvel and not Star Wars, but really, just all this stuff moving forward. And especially when they said no season 2 for The Acolyte. I can appreciate the people that are mad, but again, as someone who likes Star Wars and was just indifferent after 2 episodes,
Right.
that might be a good idea to rethink this stuff and restructure it. Again, I don't understand why it has to be all men or all women.
No,
and
I don't agree with that. Yeah.
I mean, because again, in the 90s, Star Trek managed to do both and do it to great success.
I thought
so. I don't know.
Yeah, I thought The Force Awakens did a good job. I liked that one of the newer movies.
I agree.
And they even had that romantic hint between Finn and Rey, and then they just threw it all away and did like a U-turn.
The problem with that is they made them as independent movies with independent directors and independent visions. The setup I thought was pretty good, even though it was like a shot for shot almost of like Star Wars.
Yeah,
you know,
totally.
But I liked Rey. I liked Finn. I liked the new characters.
Yeah, I did too initially, and Poe and everything. No, they were great. But you're right, because and that was the problem I had with Kelly Tran. I forget her middle name, Rose Tico. Because it's like, well, wait a minute. I thought Finn and Rey were going to get together. What's the deal with this one? And then, like you said, Franco, they went back to JJ, who basically ignored Last Jedi and made his own movie. Yeah. And it's like, well, that again, it drove me nuts when they were coming out, because it's like, this is the same company that's making Marvel movies, and everything's connected. Yeah, and everybody understands.
And they have different directors.
And you're part, but you're part of. That's where the producer. It's just like the Bond movies. Although the Bond movies are more. Although the last one with Daniel Craig, it was more one story.
Yeah.
But really, the Bond movies in general, the producers rather than the directors, they're the ones going, yeah, no, we really need it to be this way. And to a greater degree, we're Marvel, and in fact, that's why the very funny director Edgar Wright left Ant-Man. He's the guy who did Shaun of the Dead and a lot of those movies. And the reason why was he's like, well, I'm not really getting to make the movie I want to make. They want me to make it more in the Marvel way. And it's like, yeah, because I'm sorry, it's a series. You're part of a series here.
Yeah, it's following an outline. Like if you diverge from there, it's gonna alter the story and end up somewhere else where you don't want to. You're gonna need a fourth movie to straighten it all up. But like the Acolyte, I would be.
Alkalite, by the way, is a hardware product that, as ombudsman, you should be aware of what it does. What does an Alkalite do?
Alkalite.
Go see Artie.
Charge batteries. I don't know. See, exactly. I see the word and I think alcohol.
I'm totally teasing you.
You know no, I know. So
the Alkalite.
Maybe you thought that because you were drunk when you were watching.
Probably. Like I can't even say it the right way. Look, Alkalite.
I love it. Didn't they used to? I think they used to sponsor racing on ABC's Wide World of Sports with STP.
Alkaline batteries, yeah.
Exactly. Exactly.
What I'm hoping for, like, if they don't give us a season, they were not going to give us season 2. But what if they do like just a mini series, like three episodes of young Palpatine fighting this Smilo Ren for the love for Plagueis to be an apprentice.
Only if it's called Young Sheev.
Young
do I want to see a young Palpatine
it
show?
It could be called Sheev this. Yeah.
Young
and
Sheev.
have a sheep in the, I got to go sheep my sheep. But
I'm going to push back and say that that Star Wars is not all boys, because I've run into quite a few women that have enjoyed Star Wars and stuff like that.
Sure, me too.
My issue is the making it of these other things that you talked about, and like the going backwards, the characters that we don't care about, like the twins. I just didn't care about them at all. I didn't care one lick about them. It started to get interesting at the end. If you tell a linear storyline, if you move forward, if you have interesting characters, if you build their relationships, again, I go back to Ted Lasso. They had so many characters on that show. They had like 10 episodes a season. They did 3 seasons. Each one of those seasons was just perfect. Artie, it would be akin to you and Breaking Bad. You know,
Mhm.
all those, you know, maybe one or two bad episodes in there, or not bad episodes, but episodes that didn't further things along. But every one of them kind of went somewhere,
Yeah, they did.
and it was just so much character, and even the characters that had small roles
Mhm.
were interesting,
Were fleshed out.
and you were
Yes.
invested in everything. That's
Yeah.
not
Yes.
what's happening in Star Wars.
No.
That does
Right.
happen in the Marvel movies, although maybe not as late, but maybe whatever phase was before when they got to the you know, the Avengers, Infinity, and Endgame and all that stuff. You
Mhm.
know,
I
but
agree with Wayne. The animated Star Wars series gave us great female characters like Ahsoka,
Right.
and
yes,
I'm not going to try and even pronounce all these other
Asajj
people.
Ventress.
Asajj.
That's right. And the
Sabine.
and the Ahsoka show is awesome. I started
Yeah, like that.
rewatching that too, and
Yeah,
that's it's great. And the lead, all the characters are female, pretty much, like
Yeah.
most of them. So, but that's not a problem. Like a good story is what they got to do. Something,
Yes, sir.
just make it
It all-
good. That's
it
it. That's
always
it.
comes. It always comes down to the
And-
writing.
And
It-
when you listen to the director of Ahsoka talk about the show, they say things like, "We're trying to restore Lucas's vision. We're trying to make it Star Wars. We're trying to make it feel like Star Wars." They're not bashing the fans for being a
doesn't-
man.
yeah.
Like those other
Well,
like, and
It
that's
doesn't
that's
have to be Lucas's vision. It just has to be a good story.
yeah, it has to continue
yeah.
what would
that has
happen
the
in
elements
Star
of Star
Wars.
Wars. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. And it's. I wonder who is vetting these ideas, because as we know from our friends that have written comics and novels and the like, that there is a vetting process of the stories they pitch. And again, it's the metaphor I always make is color within the lines. Don't
Yeah.
color outside the lines. And too many of these intellectual properties in the hands of the streamers are coloring outside the lines. And it's like, well, it's not Star Wars anymore. It's not Star Trek anymore.
Yeah.
I mean,
And it-
you're trying too hard to make it different.
yeah.
I don't know.
Like I enjoy every Star Wars thing that shows up. I never hated any of it, and I hope they keep making more.
Well, they're making more Andor, so you can watch that.
Oh,
That's
that's
true.
the one thing I didn't enjoy at all.
That's one of
Oh,
the better ones, Artie. I can't believe you didn't like it.
Did you
I
like
gotta-
it for
Yeah, I
real?
liked it. Yeah.
I'm gonna side with Artie on this one. It was just, man, it was a slog to get.
Man,
through.
I was looking for hammers.
a long time.
I had 10 toes. I was looking for 10 hammers.
It had that
I
cool
understand.
prison storyline.
Yeah,
where
I
they
thought
broke
that
out of
was cool.
prison.
That's
thought
the
that
only
was
thing
cool.
that's
But
the only
again,
thing that
there
was
were
good.
a couple of episodes in there. Yeah, like there were a couple of episodes in there that were really good, but other stuff, man, it was like, what
Like
am I watching?
Like
It
stuff
really-
looked good, you know.
It should have been at least two different shows that tied together rather than present it all as part of Andor. Because
Those could have been 2
I
seasons.
like the politics
Yeah.
and I like the prison break. And I understand that it all results in the rebel being, the rebel dissidents being formed and everything. And I think that's, again, I appreciate the big idea.
But
But
again,
yeah,
you know, the movie that Andor is in,
Rogue One.
Rogue One. I love that movie.
that's a
Yeah,
great
that's
movie.
great.
It was
It
great.
is a great movie. Yeah.
I just, again, you're taking this. Not only did we see a movie that moved backwards in time in the Star Wars mythos, but it gave us all new characters, which I really was okay with.
Yeah.
Yep.
The ending, I was thrilled with the ending because, yeah, okay, great, they got the plans and everything like that.
Yeah.
But then you're making a series about this character that I already know what happened.
He's going to die.
him.
Yeah.
I have no vested interest in watching this thing, and then when you make it a boring slog like that, I'm like
Yeah.
even less interested in it.
Yeah.
It
it's
did
so
move. It
cool.
did move slowly. Yeah. Well, again, back to what Artie said. Trim the fat and give us a shorter story. And I don't know why a lot of these things appear to be padded. And again, maybe because we have preconceived notions of what these things should be. Because, like, as I appreciate the example of Ted Lasso, Francis, but I mean, we had no preconceived notions of expectations of what to expect from that.
But
But to their credit, it was good writing, and yeah, man, no, we got to know about every character that appeared in more than one episode. A lot of the team members,
Right.
the guy that was the general manager had a great storyline through the 3 seasons. Beard, Ted Lasso's assistant, Artie, he's a great character, and we learn more and more about him. Everyone, Rupert, the guy who played Giles on Buffy.
I'm gonna push back a little bit on you, Johnny, because they did
What?
do shorts of Ted Lasso on.
That's true. Before the series,
Yeah.
before the series, that's true. Yep.
because
I've never seen him.
I know why that these things are so stretched out and padded. Is it comes down to the subscription for
I
Disney
guess.
Plus, maybe, right? Because
I
they
guess.
want people to watch
Sure.
every week. Because
Right.
if you release one movie, everyone's gonna watch it that weekend.
Yeah.
And then
Well, but again, make it a 4-part miniseries. Don't make it an 8 or a 10-part if you don't have 10 good parts.
I agree. They just edit it tighter.
Right.
They don't need as many characters as they think we need because they don't do anything. Even they had I always forget in the Obi-Wan show when they're on that big freighter, they're all escaping. He's escaping with all the people, and Ice Cube's son is on there, and they made a big deal about Ice Cube's son, but he doesn't do anything. Like he was fine, like the actor his role, but he didn't do anything. And then Obi-Wan left the left the ship to go fight Vader, and then we don't hear about that ship where to go, and it didn't matter. You know?
Did you guys see I mean I raved about it while it was running on Apple, Monarch, the Godzilla TV series?
Oh, I heard about it.
Yeah.
Isn't that Kurt Russell's in that? Is that
Kurt Russell and his son Wyatt? And
cool.
exactly what you described, Artie, in terms of it was a very small, immediate cast. It was very focused on those people. It was 10 episodes. And I keep saying it. I'm so happy for Fraction because Fraction was one of the co-creators of it. He and another guy. And it was just this really tight, smart show that I like infinitely more than the new Godzilla and King Kong legendary movie.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know?
I gotta get going, my guys.
All right, buddy.
Red Scooter Pie.
You're
We
gonna
can wrap
make
up. We've been
You're the-
talking
you're the
nerd
best
stuff
in the
for like an
business.
I like that. C-3PO.
What's
Good?
There he
Let's
is.
see.
Goodbye, my Oh Yeah podcast.
Vintage.
You don't have your C-3PO mask.
I know. I gotta find it. That's why I pulled him out.
There you go. Hello,
Yeah.
friends. I know I just met you, but before I get reprogrammed in,
Yeah, that's
was
another
that
one.
Rise of Skywalker?
Yeah. Yep.
Crap!
Let's put a whole
Crap!
bunch.
Oh
Yeah.
my God!
We can wrap up. And before we do, we just want to say that the score, Artie wins. He got yelled at twice by Johnny.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry.
I came in
I know,
second
sorry.
with 1 point, and Scoot got away with 0 points.
Yeah.
So you weren't even
That's
on
because he's the
scoreboard,
best in the
Scoot.
business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah. All right.
Yeah. I guess.
Anyway,
All right. Well, there you go. Follow us when you see us.
follow us when you see us. Thank you.
We will
We'll be back in the winter for our winter episode. We'll see how long it is before we have our next episode. But
Well,
I
everybody's
know,
got to calm down from all the yelling and get.
I know
get
it's
over
my
it,
fault.
you know,
No, I
so.
blame myself.
We
I
gotta
like
do the
it.
traditional Halloween
You can blame
episode
me.
coming up with ghost stories.
Normally, I have to
Ghost
wear.
story.
Ghost stories next time. We didn't get to them this
Oh,
time.
I
We'll
got
get
oh,
to 'em
one.
next
Yeah,
time.
I got a video.
Damn.
Yeah.
Man.
We'll get to it
Yeah.
next time.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Oh, sorry.
I like Pink very much, Lois.
I like pink very much.
I like
like-
Pink very much. Though.
I like the
Nice to be
pig.
good. I like the pink very much.
I like a happy face, a smiley face spatula that Artie had to clean to get the
Spatula.
dollar store crud off of
You
it.
have
All
to
right.
get the skin
It's
flakes
good
off
for
it.
slapping too.
Yeah, dead skin.
Mm-hmm.
Later.
You guys are awesome.